There's a whole other sandwich here.
I am not eating that other sandwich.
I want another one.
I am not going to feel great later if I eat that. Welcome back. We have one person watching. Don't know
Wow.
who it is, but
Someone's watching? Nice.
Hey.
Way to go, person.
I know. We actually had a comment on the other one saying they missed the stream. By Tude Lascow, or I forgot
Don't
how to
worry,
say the
we're
name all
back.
the time. But we're back.
We are back.
Now we're break and we're back.
We're ready.
And we're jumping back into it immediately. I want to know, why are the goblins looking for Barty Crouch? And where do you think Barty Crouch is?
Wait, so can we back up one thing?
Yes.
So this is Bagman. Harry sees Bagman talking to the goblins out, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought Bagman was making up a story saying that, we're talking about Crouch. No.
I thought
Maybe.
It was like a cover.
Do you
I
think
thought
he
it
was
a
covering?
cover. I thought it was a cover.
What do you think he's covering for then?
Wait, can you say that
I'm
again,
so
Jen?
gullible. I just believe everything.
That's really astute that you just didn't believe what he said.
I didn't, because the way he said it. I don't know what page it's
Man.
on. Do you
Jen
know?
is
still in
like
chapter
the
24,
psychologist with this kind of stuff. I love this. You knew, you immediately knew who Hermione was going with.
Oh
You
yeah, that
immediately
was
knew
so
this?
easy.
Yeah.
That was easy from. I thought. A lot.
You'd have to be an idiot.
I did not say that. Don't you put words in my mouth. No, just because the way he was like, oh yeah, we're talking about where Crouch is or what he's up to or something. I don't know. Where is this? What chapter are we on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
24.
Okay.
We're still on,
Yeah, we're still on 24.
and it was towards the end of it, right? I'm trying to just find it, pull it up real quick, but.
So there is a possibility. So we're bringing up two possibilities here. The first is that he could just be telling the truth that they were talking about Barty Crouch and where he is. The second is that he could have just said something really quick because he was really covering for something else. And the question is, if he was covering for
Here it
something
is.
else, what was he covering for? But if he was telling the truth, where is Barty Crouch? Both of those questions are very pertinent, regardless of if he's telling the truth or not.
It's on 448, 449-ish sections.
What?
I don't know. Apparently, I wrote maybe Crouch is a magical creature. Why did I write that?
Crouch is a goblin.
Oh, because it says Hermione gave Ron a don't joke about things look like that below, and said funny goblins looking for Mr. Crouch. They normally deal with the Department for Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. So I was like, maybe they're trying to control him, and he's a magical creature.
Ooh,
That's funny. Nice.
that's a good theory. I kind of like that.
That's ridiculous, but it's there.
I feel like it's got to be something with money, because don't the goblins run Gringotts now? So I don't know what that could mean, but there's a lot of money flying around, and I feel like his department would have a lot of pull. People would care what decisions are made, but
So the goblins really do care about money. So there's some monetary issue that's going on right now.
I would think so, but I don't know what issue. Maybe they run the bets. McGonagall goes to them to place her bets.
So would Bagman then be deep in debt because of a bet, or is he asking for
I would
money
say
from
he
the
would
goblins?
definitely be deep in debt to a lot of people. Maybe he had to pay off his debts. He took out a debt from the goblins to pay some of his other gambling debts. Because he does have a gambling thing. As much as we joke about McGonagall, he actually does. He's trying to rope kids into gambling and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're
like
right.
Fred and George. And he's ready for gambling at all times. So I wonder, there actually might be gambling for the Triwizard Tournament. But I think it's more likely he's just deeply in
That's
debt.
illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
are
secret.
you jumping on Jen's theory where you think he's telling a lie about Crouch?
That's not my original thought. It is a great thought.
Let's talk about him being honest just for 1 second.
Yeah,
Say
that
he
was my
honest.
instinct. That's how I was thinking. They're after Crouch for something with international cooperation and money and something along those lines.
Can we just go over again Bagman and Crouch's Ministry of Magic? One is the games.
So Bagman, Ludo Bagman is the minister or the head of
games,
the
right?
games and
regulations. Oh, okay.
so he runs the games, yeah. Like Quidditch stuff. And then Crouch is international magical cooperation. And we learned earlier that he was primed to be prime minister. he was the head of the Auror office, the magical law enforcement office. But when he didn't become Minister of Magic, they kind of demoted him to that department because he just got crazy. So he's international or magical cooperation.
Okay. Thank you.
His job seems boring.
Well, when you
That's
get
why he's so
demoted, I feel like.
Yeah.
But he knows all these different languages, which is then what Ron or someone says, right?
Oh, yeah.
He knows so many languages. Maybe that's
Yeah,
why
it's true. That hasn't come up yet. He
they
does know a
needed
lot of
him.
languages.
But yeah, but the way Bagman said they're looking for Barty Crouch, like the way he says it,
Yeah, he
I'm
was a
like,
little fishy at that point.
I don't believe you.
I mean,
That was super fishy.
There is the part too that Barty Crouch is missing, so maybe he's just ashamed. Maybe Bagman is the one that is responsible for Barty Crouch missing. But is Barty Crouch missing?
Oh, true.
No, he's not missing.
I have a theory on that, so that's in the next chapter, though.
I cannot wait. Oh my
If
gosh.
he is telling the truth, you wanted to know what about from us?
Like, what would that mean if the goblins were actually after Crouch and Bagman was not like making up a story to cover for his own money issues or whatever goblin issues?
Maybe they need Crouch to do some kind of deal with money, and they don't know how to speak a language with whatever.
An international money deal.
Yeah. That would be really boring, but yeah.
No, it could be. Yeah.
Or maybe it would be big news if someone stole out of the Gringotts bank, right?
It would be huge news, but big enough that they'd cover it up.
Yeah, for sure.
International.
Though.
And Crouch would be a perfect person to go to if he used to be in
Exactly.
charge of the Aurors and he knows the ministry super well. And it's funny because he seems legit, especially compared to Fudge. Like Fudge is in charge.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
And it also brings up the question, how do you become head of the Ministry of Magic? Is it by vote?
It's democracy. It's
Huh.
at least
Popularity contest,
yeah.
or at least so we think.
it kind of
Interesting.
lent an ear
But
to that. It almost lent an ear to two running candidates to me. I don't think we exactly know
Yes,
this, but
that would make
like
sense.
they were both like in trajectory for it, and then all of a sudden he sent his son to Azkaban, and people were like, "This guy is insane," and his popularity started dipping, and the only other person they could really vote for was Crouch, or there was Fudge, and they're like, he's better than this maniacal, insane guy.
That's like, never mind.
It's like current politics, as Jen was going to say.
Yeah, let's vote. Never mind. Really get myself.
Pull it back to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Do you have any more ideas on that?
Well, I find it also interesting. It's not just one goblin. It says goblins, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just. So I find that kind of weird too. Because if you're having like a secret discussion, it's like the head people talk to each other, not like a group to one. So like, what
Yeah.
would that mean?
Well, he could have done shady stuff in the past with money.
Who?
Crouch. Or Bagman, for that matter. Whether he's lying or telling the truth. Bagman, if the goblins are after him or Crouch, wouldn't really make a difference. I guess that's the weird part at this point. They're, to me, very similar.
Bagman and Crouch.
Yeah, just because they're both
Yeah,
at
I
the
know,
Ministry
it's
of
hard
Magic
to
and they
figure
both
them.
have like roles to play. I don't fully trust either one of them, but Bagman's more likable, but that doesn't mean he's more trustworthy. So I think
I mean, we've seen in these books the more likable characters are sometimes the characters
Yeah.
we trust, or we should trust the least, maybe.
Yep.
Yep, that's what I do.
So looking at the two of them,
Detective.
I'm just kind of like, I think of them as being very similar, especially as far as goblin theories at the moment. They both have power in the Ministry of Magic. They both seem to have some pull, and I could see. Well, I couldn't see Crouch really getting into gambling, but I could see Bagman getting into gambling debt. But Crouch, I could see him getting mixed up in something else.
What if the goblins have someone in Azkaban that Crouch put in there and they wanted to get information or find out something?
Are there
You want
goblins
the
in
gobble-
Azkaban? We don't know of any non-humans in Azkaban yet, but that could totally be.
And they wanted to know like where they found them and then put them in. I'm just trying to think why there'd be a few to one. So why would be a bunch of goblins and bagmen instead of like a one-on-one?
I felt like they just travel in a pack.
It does feel that way.
Do they have
You're right.
like one leader, or is it like a pack of them?
And are these colleagues from Gringotts traveling together to get him, or is this a family? Because Crouch locked up
Wow, yeah.
Jimmy Goblin, and they
Well,
want to get him
that's
out.
true.
Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy Goblin.
We'll come back to this a little bit later because we're going to talk about Bagman and Crouch a lot more in this. But there's a line that our very beloved Rita Skeeter says. How about you give me an interview about the Hagrid you know, Harry? The man behind the muscles. Your unlikely friendship and the reasons behind it. Would you call him a father substitute? Here's just a random side question. Is Hagrid the closest thing to a father that Harry has?
Before Sirius, I would have said yes. And right now, I'm thinking maybe.
Like an uncle, I see him as.
Like
a fun
Hagrid being
uncle.
the uncle.
Yeah.
I still feel like Harry doesn't have a father, but Grandpa Dumbledore, Uncle Sirius. I feel like Hagrid might be the closest to a father, even though he's missing a few things as far as fatherhood. But
Well, Hagrid doesn't really know what fatherhood is either from his dad dying so young also.
yeah,
And Sirius doesn't quite either. I mean, like their relationship, to me, the relationship that Sirius has with Harry seems more like the uncle kind of thing to me. I mean, because you do tell your father a lot and you like kind of spill some of your guts out, but the Hagrid relationship seems very fatherly. Like there are just things that Harry just doesn't necessarily tell Hagrid. Hagrid's kind of big and oafish a bit, so he doesn't completely trust him with everything, but I don't know, there's just interesting notes behind all that kind of stuff. Do you, if you had to choose between Hagrid and Sirius to keep in Harry's life? Seems like a terrible question. But.
That's so messed up.
All right, fine. We'll skip
I don't like that because I
question.
feel like they bring in different.
Yeah. They bring in different.
Aspects,
Maybe this is the more important question. Which one do you think is influencing him more?
Ooh.
Serious.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
I feel like in theory, he's influencing him. I feel like Hagrid actually is.
Yeah.
Like in a
that's good way to
physical
say it.
sense. That makes sense.
Like,
they're both impacting him, but like Hagrid is there. He's, I mean,
in the forefront of Harry's mind, I think Sirius is the one. In the back of his mind, where he doesn't, in those like subconscious, I think Hagrid's really the one that's impacting him the most.
But like, what does Hagrid's impact look like, though? I guess that's what I'm struggling
Well, he's
with.
there. He like seeks him out, and he can do that because he's there.
Yeah, that's true.
He's physically there.
Yeah.
So even like just having him come over for tea.
Or like when he believed him too, right? Like
Right.
when he was like, "Wait, you believe I didn't put my name in the?"
Oh yeah. Yep.
And even this next line too that you get when they storm to Hagrid's cabin and where they're like talking, and it says Hermione went slightly pink, but Dumbledore smiled at her and continued, "Hermione, Harry, and Ron still seem to want to know you, judging by the way they were attempting to break down the door." And then Harry goes, "Of course we still want to know you." And I really love the turn of phrase there. He doesn't say like, "Yeah, Dumbledore's right." He says like, "Of course we want to really know you." It's not necessarily about the article or anything like that. Hagrid's nervous of his fear of not being known, and I think in a weird way, maybe Hagrid isn't really the father figure. I think he genuinely wants to be friends with Hermione, Ron, and Harry. So there's
That's
a bit
the
more
vibe
of
that
that
I
kind of
get.
dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Sirius isn't great either because he's trying to almost vicariously live through Harry in certain aspects, which I guess a lot of dads do sometimes too. But well, let's go to chapter 25, the egg in the eye.
Oh no, we're gonna be stuck here forever.
This is why I'm trying to get
It's
there
awesome.
quick so we can talk about this for a very, very long time. First question. Or
Oh, wait.
go ahead, Danny.
Yes,
Of
thank
course,
you. Of
Danny.
course.
So wait,
what little
two
thing
little
did you
things.
find?
First of all, I thought it was funny when they were knocking on the door that Hermione seemed embarrassed about Dumbledore. And it just occurred to me that most students have very little exposure to Dumbledore, but Harry's so comfortable.
Yeah.
So again, Hermione being nervous in a way that Harry just isn't. And I just thought it was funny seeing her that way. But at the end, I thought there was something weird that Hagrid was saying that I was like questioning because Hagrid was saying that Harry is fighting for all of the mixed blood. What are we saying? The half-bloods. The
half-bloods, yeah.
Muggle-born, right? We could say that.
No, not...
no.
He's saying you don't have to be pure blood. You then he tells Harry he doesn't have to be ashamed of what he is. And I was like, but isn't Harry a pure blood?
Oh, that confused me too.
Because up until this point, I'm like, he definitely is. But when Hagrid said this, I was like, wait, is he not? He can at least represent people like Hermione, and he can be like their champion, so to speak. But the way Hagrid said it felt different. Like he was saying something more about Harry, and I was like, what? Then it like got glossed over pretty quick.
I wonder though, could it be like, so Harry, it seems as though Harry's mom is a witch, but she wasn't full, like, pure blood too. So then is he like a quarter Muggle born? Like, you know how I see what the descendant, you're
like, if both his parents weren't also pure blood, then he wouldn't be pure blood.
That's what I thought.
That
because
makes sense.
I mean, so the Dursleys, you have to keep of them. Petunia, that whole dynamic between Petunia and Lily, was Petunia's parents, was Lily's parents, were they?
Well, that's true, but I'm assuming from what we're going with, it sounds as though Petunia, she's weird, her sister was weird, so I'm thinking maybe she was the only one that was a witch. Yeah. So then I'm assuming that their parents were Muggles.
So he's like a quarter. So Harry is.
But I could be wrong because maybe we learn that later.
And a quarter Muggle. Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
But Malfoy has never made fun of him for it. I think if there was a weakness
because
there, I feel
Lily
like Malfoy would have.
James.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you'd have to know more about Harry to understand that.
But
Hagrid does
because
he
knew all the all the pictures he collected from all the I don't know, like he.
That's true.
Whatever.
And there is an aspect of it.
No, I honestly have no idea. And because it was glossed over so quickly, I thought maybe it doesn't mean anything. He might just be representing.
That's true.
Justice, like
his best friend's a Muggle. It could be that simple too, where like he's a pure blood, but he's not in Slytherin, and he is fighting for people who are half blood and less.
Yep.
That, like he's still friends with these
true.
people, so he's breaking the stigma of being pure blood. So like this is a good fight. You fight for this, Harry. You're representing these people.
And then Aunt Petunia is, what's it called when you don't have magic? You're born.
Squib.
I knew you would know like that. Aunt Petunia's a squib. No wonder she's bitter.
Or she isn't.
And she's a witch
really?
and not using her powers.
Yep.
She would have so many opportunities, though, to get Harry into shape when he was.
But she didn't go to school. She doesn't know how to handle her powers.
They just come out when you are emotional,
Yeah.
angry or whatever, and she was very angry.
And she accidentally did an engorgement charm on her husband and her son.
Oh, that's why they're so big.
Oh my goodness.
The size of a whale.
We really like that spell here.
Maybe she really loves Harry and like is protecting him. So like even she enlarges Aunt Marge when she's getting a little too big. Maybe it wasn't really Harry. Maybe it was Aunt Marge.
All these times I've been thinking
Or
it was
Aunt.
Harry.
She's hiding her powers through Harry this whole time.
All right, let's get to this chapter. The egg in the eye, the one Jen is looking forward to talking about.
Yeah,
give
but
me
Danny
a
has to
quick summary. Yeah, give me a quick summary of this chapter.
Kristen?
Harry figures out how to listen to the egg and what the clues mean. Moody helps him not get caught by Filch and Snape, and then Harry gives him the Marauders map.
Yes. First question, most important question. What's the nicest bathroom that you've ever been in?
Because I catalog that in my brain, John.
Have you ever I mean, I can't even think of that either, but have you ever walked into a bathroom and you're like, this is magnificent. This is the nicest bathroom I've ever been in.
I'm sure I have thought that in the moment.
There's two.
Do you remember?
One I babysat for this family, and they redid their entire house, and I just walked, they built it from scratch, and they have the funds to make it as nice as they wanted. And I walked into their bathroom, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. You have so much space that you're like naked, taking like the tub is like the center of the room, and then the toilet is like its own
it's a rich bathroom.
little thing. And I was like, I would feel weird like taking all this space and you're in your little tub in the middle of this huge room. Yeah. And then like one of the hotels in the city was really nice growing up. When I went with my uncle, my aunt, and my cousin, we were at the Plaza Hotel.
Oh wow.
Man,
That was pretty.
when you're a kid and you like walk into a nice bathroom or like a hotel room, it's like the coolest thing.
Yeah, when you're little,
I
yeah.
was fascinated by every hotel room when I was
Yeah,
a kid. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know.
so,
And you walk
I don't
into
know.
them now and you're
My
like,
bar
this
might
is
be low.
depressing.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is
La
gross.
Quinta Inn is not a fancy
Yeah.
hotel? What?
And then I'm thinking of the tub. Like, that looked fun when I was a kid, but
Right.
like, when was this clean last?
Yeah, my friends have a toilet that I remember the first time I walked into their bathroom.
You just have a toilet.
It opened up for me when I walked in, and I thought that was
Wow.
crazy. And then it's got like a touchpad next to the toilet, and you can like play music and do all this stuff, and you pick the temperature of the seat.
What?
And
I would love
it's
that.
got all the spraying
Be on there
things
all
and
day.
drying things.
Oh my
And like
gosh.
a whole thing. Like this toilet was insane. And it speaks to you. Not in a creepy way. Well, a little bit creepy because I didn't know the toilet was going to do all this stuff. So it like welcomes me to the bathroom and opens like, the whole
Danny.
thing. It was just
In
like
Harry
a lot.
Potter.
I was like, what in the world?
And you were in
so that was
there all
fascinating.
day.
Well,
I'm not leaving
it was,
this.
It was during like a party or a dinner, and so I was like, well, I can't be in here like too long, but it just was very comfortable. And I was Googling the
I'm
toilet while I
sure.
was sitting on it, and then I was like, I literally drove here in a car that cost less than this toilet.
Oh my goodness.
But it was a very nice
How
toilet.
much is the toilet?
$3,500.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference between for me, the bathrooms are my retreat, and I don't feel any pressure to leave a bathroom if I'm on a party.
Oh, yeah.
Only if someone's knocking at the door. The bathroom's my little like.
So
safe
if you're ever
space.
missing, we know where you are.
Yeah. Yep. John is hiding in the bathroom.
Well, it's perfect. It's got music and everything, you know?
Sometimes
TV,
not even
it's
going
all
to the
you need.
bathroom, just hiding out in the bathroom. Just
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
need some time to
he
recharge.
brings Harry Potter.
I have a story. In high school, I went to a party and I was so uncomfortable, like being around drinking because I just was never around that. And I hid in the bathroom. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
What an oxymoron
Taking
that is.
refuge in the bathroom.
We talked about this in the intro, but then she is so creepy, Myrtle. She goes,
Oh, being
what
in
do
the
you think? Or what do you do? Sneak up here in the evenings to watch the prefects take baths? Sometimes, said Myrtle rather slyly. But I've never come out to speak to anyone before. What a creep. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe how much of a creep she is.
Yeah, I don't even.
She sees a lot.
Yeah.
She sees a
Keep
lot.
bending the pages of my book.
But like, you wouldn't see her or hear her. She moans
Either.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I knew that was coming. You gotta stop locking
you're
eyes.
setting
Yeah. If you say something,
I
don't lock
always
eye contact with her.
set myself up unintentionally.
So she is a ghost, so she can control a little bit of wind, a little bit of fire, and a little bit of water, but not much. So I guess you would kind of know if she like glided through you, it'd be colder. If she could like breathe on your neck or something like that, it'd be weird.
While you're in the bath.
Yeah.
Just like that kid in Hey Arnold. You know that
Oh,
character?
yeah.
Hmm.
He's drooling in the behind.
Like, always
Yeah,
like, shoulder.
That sounds a little familiar, but it's been so long.
that's right.
You guys,
no, my name's not
I am proud of myself. We have been recording for how long, and this is the first time I ran.
That is
Laughing.
true.
All right,
I didn't even realize
here's a very
what I
important
said.
line, and this is going to launch Jen onto a very interesting
Oh,
tirade.
no.
Peeves was not the only thing that was moving. A single dot was flitting around a room in the bottom left-hand corner, Snape's office. But the dot wasn't labeled Severus Snape. It was Bartemius Crouch. What was Barty Crouch doing in Snape's office?
Don't. I have a couple of
So indigestion. So, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that happens before this. Did you guys because this is going to be a large talking point. So take a deep breath. Is there anything that you guys saw before that? This is when another fun little note is how good of a writer J.K. Rowling is and just throwing stuff right in front of you, or like throwing stuff in a few chapters before so you get reacquainted with something.
Yes.
The vanishing step. Who
With
else?
Neville
Oh,
fell
yeah.
through it.
sees it. Yep.
So
which
we-
is why my theory, I think, makes sense. Or
Go
we both
on.
were talking about a theory, so it wasn't just mine.
Interesting.
Well, Hermione, Ron, and Harry's the potion. What the heck is it called?
Polyjuice?
Yep, Polyjuice potion. I was like, why would that come up earlier on? Because she likes to introduce things, and it's not really necessary until later on.
Wait, where did Polyjuice potion come up?
In one of the earlier books, but then Snape says that someone stole an ingredient
skin.
That was a part of Polyjuice potion. So then this whole chapter, I'm thinking Crouch is actually turned into Moody and stealing the Marauders map from Harry.
Wait, time out.
Yep.
Say that again?
That is how crazy I went. I said that in this chapter, Moody is acting weird. His eye is like turning around a lot of times. He's saying things that I don't really believe is actually Moody, Mad-Eye Moody. So I'm thinking Crouch was in Snape's office stealing that ingredient to make a Polyjuice potion to turn into Moody to get some information because maybe he's dark.
Time
Wizard.
out. Again, double time out. You think Barty Crouch is taking Polyjuice potion to act like Mad-Eye Moody?
Yep.
How often is he doing this? Do you think he's
I don't
being
know.
a judge in the
I
tournament?
needed to go back and figure this out.
Wait,
But
did
that
he
is
show
how
up to the second event, Crouch? To the
No.
second event in the Triwizard
Nope,
Tournament?
Percy was there.
So, Crouch has been missing since November.
Yeah, because we were talking about it. Wasn't just we were both discussing this theory.
I don't know, but it feels like he actually has been gone since November. So he judged the first part of the tournament. And then could he have been doing Polyjuice that whole time? Polyjuice that we've seen that Hermione did only lasts an hour.
Yeah, but maybe he needed to stock up again. That's why he was in Snape's
Yeah,
office.
for sure. But could he get the ingredients? And
I don't know.
Is there not a single time?
That's
and
why
does
it
that mean
seems-
Percy's in on it?
How would he know? Well, he does work for Crouch, but maybe it's through email or some kind of thing, not really in person.
Yeah, that's true. I do think it's Crouch. When Moody picked up the map on the floor and goes towards Harry, he was being nice, but he left Harry in pain in the step. And then as soon as Harry said, "Get me out of here," he did lift him out, but it felt like he didn't really want to. And then he was holding the map, and I thought, if he doesn't give this map back, then he's Crouch. Because of just something about that vibe. Because it felt like as soon as he found out that Harry saw Crouch on the map, he's like, I can't give this map back to Harry anymore. And then he found a way to not give it back to Harry. So that all happened in one conversation, but he also helped him in that whole conversation quite a bit from Filch and Snape. And would Moody's eye really work as a magic eye if it was through Polyjuice?
Well, that's what we were. That's what we were going back and forth. Because, like, do you get all of their powers when you have the Polyjuice potion? No, you just look like them. That's where it was.
Yeah, like anything physical. Like, that was the movie was wrong because their voices didn't change, Harry and Ron, when they were Crabbe and Goyle. But in the books, their voices even changed to sound like them. So anything physical, sure.
That's what I thought.
But I don't think of the eye as being physical.
It is, though.
It is?
That's like your anatomy is like
a weird
physical.
thing too. Because if you're taking someone's hair, it's Polyjuice. What if you become like the purest version of them? Like no scars, it's their DNA.
Well, that is another reason why I said, well, when I re-listened to it, though, I was like, maybe I heard it wrong the first time. But it sounded as though very slightly different. I said Harry was like looking at Mad-Eye Moody and his scars looked deeper than they normally did. And it could have just been shadowing. But the way that, why would she put that in there? I was like, maybe he looked slightly different. Very
and Harry
slightly.
couldn't even quite register it, but just slightly different.
And then his eye is literally going crazy. And they never mentioned this once before. Mad-Eye Moody eye is like spinning. And it was never mentioned in any of the chapters before this how much it was moving. Mm-hmm. And I found that weird.
Like it used to always be in control, but then if this theory of Crouch being Moody is correct, he doesn't quite know how to control the eye.
Right.
But he could still
And
see
then
Harry in the invisibility
he
cloak.
also really he said that Crouch was better than Mad Eye Moody. That's
Yes,
what you
that-
said. And I was
yes.
like, oh, this is
I was
not
like,
Mad
wait,
Eye
did
Moody.
he just
There's no
praise
way.
Crouch like that?
Yep.
Like basically calling Crouch a better wizard than him?
Yeah,
I was like,
that was
that
weird.
feels weird. Why
So
would he ever say
we were
that?
like,
Wait,
this
time out. Who
seems-
said he was a better wizard again?
Moody was talking to someone.
He was talking to Harry, and then he says in the third person,
Yeah,
Mad Eye
yeah,
Moody,
yeah.
and then he says I. And so I was like, that's weird because it's like you're talking in the third person, but then you realize that,
Yeah, he said he would
he-
make Mad Eye look
Yep.
tame or something like that.
and then Crouch is even worse or better at putting people in ask. I don't even know, something along those lines. It
Which is
just
bizarre.
didn't sound
Although
like
honestly
him.
could also be true. He was
Yeah,
head of the
maybe.
Aurors and all that.
We could be totally
and Moody could have been Moody's old boss for all we know.
Yeah.
But something doesn't feel like it quite lines up. But that is my
It
most
just
likely theory
seemed-
because the map is like something that we've seen as being true. Like unquestioningly true. If people had paid closer attention to the map, they would have seen that Scabbers is Wormtail that whole time. And so I feel like it's the same thing. We just don't know if Crouch could have gone anywhere else from Snape's office and bailed and why he would be in Snape's office. But I think Moody Polyjuice is our best yet.
Yeah, that's the only I can
Although
think of.
that seems pretty intense
Yeah,
because
That is
it
very
feels
intense.
kind of evil.
but then where's
Not
Mad Eye
necessarily.
Moody? Was Mad Eye Moody
Yeah,
sleeping at that time?
So that's my question for you guys. Where would Mad Eye
Well,
Moody
that's
be?
the thing. It's like he's either like it's a double age, like he's trying to be present when Mad Eye Moody isn't around, or that whole we were talking about this was like the whole article where Mad Eye Moody went crazy. The deliveries, like, and who is it that said like whoever was trying really hard not to have Mad Eye Moody come to Hogwarts.
That
was
might have been Sirius.
selling it to Harry.
Yeah, when he was talking about it all, or I mean, we discussed that as an option, even just with Moody, the whole bins incident back when Mr. Weasley had to go help him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that could have been someone preventing him from coming to Hogwarts, but it failed. Or if this theory with Crouch was,
Yeah.
is viable, it didn't work for Crouch's purposes because we saw Crouch and Moody both at Hogwarts at the beginning of the year. So it would have been someone else using Polyjuice to be Moody or not at all. But I have a feeling, according to this theory, Moody, it was unsuccessful. That first thing with the bins didn't work. They get to school, and then whoever wanted this bad thing to happen said, we got to try again.
But where was that occurrence? Would J.K. Rowling have written that occurrence? Where was the change where Moody stopped being real Moody and started being fake Polyjuice
That's
Moody?
great. There has to be something. Maybe it's coming up, and we haven't gotten to it.
When Crouch disappeared, did it happen there? And
'Cause
then
he
where
was
is the
sick,
real
Was
Moody?
the
and then-
first disappearance, but it couldn't have been then because that would have been a perfect time
What?
where Winky was holding his seat and he
Yeah.
never showed up.
Yep.
It's because he was doing Moody crazy stuff. But it doesn't really work
That's
because
before
we see
school,
them both
though.
at school. Yeah. Could it have been?
That's
not,
where.
not during the. Oh yeah, it couldn't be during the second
The only thing is, we haven't seen them together since.
since early school.
That's what I find weird.
What happened in
We haven't seen who together?
October?
Crouch and Bagman?
Mad Eye Moody.
Mad Eye Moody? Wait, what do you mean we haven't seen them together?
Like since the beginning of school year, now they've not been in any scenes together
Crouch and
Till
Moody, yeah.
up to now.
So according to
So-
the theory, it happened in November. But do we know anything? Wait,
I'm not good with timelines.
That's your job,
could it
Danny.
have been the Yule? No, he didn't come to the Yule Ball.
He
'cause
disappeared essentially right
Percy-
after the first task.
Right.
Yeah.
So was there some scuffle at the first task?
I feel like there could have been, and then we're not going to read about it till
To-
further out.
Dragon incident.
To defend, I'm going to play devil's advocate, I guess, for you guys. To defend Moody in this one instance, this is a chaotic scene regardless of what's happening, which could explain why his eye is moving
Yep.
insanely fast everywhere. Because he gets to this scene, Filch is there, there's a screaming egg, Snape is there, and then Harry is under an invisibility cloak in a stair, in
Yeah.
a lot of pain, going, no, don't Wrap me out.
Yeah.
So his eye could be moving like crazy. And then this could be the real Moody, which is why he does want the map again. It could just be flat out. He really wants the map to find a dark wizard.
Yeah.
It does make sense. But your guy's theory is very interesting.
And I genuinely think that would still make sense for him to want the map and keep it. The timing was just suspicious. And I have a hard time picturing Crouch getting out of there unseen with all the drama going down. We know Crouch was in the office. I know,
yeah. Like,
so
how did
now
he
that
leave
adds a
Hogwarts?
fourth element. If he isn't Moody, then it means Crouch, Moody, Filch, Snape, and Harry are all within hearing distance of a dropped egg. Like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, well, Crouch could have some clever ways out. We don't know. There could be other secret passages we don't know about. But
then why else was he in Snape's office?
Does Snape sleep? Every time Harry is up in the middle of the night, Snape is always there.
That's because
At
he's
least
a
he's wearing a
vampire.
nightgown this time. Yeah. That's a step in the right direction.
He's making out.
Wasn't
that wearing a nightgown?
Was that one of your theories way back?
Yeah,
he
he's
was
a vampire.
Nightmare vampire, yeah.
Yep, he is. That would make sense.
I mean, it kind of would make sense. And how close to his office does he sleep?
Wait, was this also the chapter where his arm starts bothering him?
Yeah,
and he touches
his left arm, his forearm, which is the same thing that was happening to Karkaroff.
Crockpot, yep.
When Harry waited in the classroom.
I know.
After potions.
But what is that?
I feel like it's a tattoo of the
dark mark tattoo is showing itself when he's being
Some
evil.
kind of like connection to the dark
a tattoo
wizards.
of the dark mark on the forearm.
Yeah, I don't know.
That seems
Something
a
along the
cool
lines.
tattoo. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Would be pretty sweet.
Are you a Slytherin now?
Maybe a little Slytherin in me.
Huh.
To me, it's like a calling. Like you're all in the same. Like I don't know. What's it
like
called?
Voldemort
Blood
set up a thing
brothers
to
or
like.
something?
Wait. Beckoning them.
What did he do before Snape's arm started burning?
He said,
Or
"I
we assume
know
burning, like
something
hurting.
about like we don't trust you, but and then Snape says, "Well, Dumbledore trusts me," and he goes, "Oh yeah, like I don't know, we'll just find it." But it was along the lines of like, "Well, Dumbledore trusts me, so yeah," but then he touched his forearm. But
Also, why is Crouch dumb? Lighting torches in the office? Use Lumos or something. He lit torches so that Snape walked by and knew that somebody had been in his office.
maybe he wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he did want something like that to happen. Maybe he wanted this whole situation to happen.
He wanted this whole situation to happen so that way he can get something else.
And Snape put a spell on his office, a spell none but a wizard could break.
Yeah.
Weird. He's saying an elf couldn't
I don't
do
know
it.
any of this stuff.
He's saying a goblin couldn't do it. But does that mean any wizard could?
Or is it like an adult wizard? That's what I was thinking too. Like,
And
do you have to have
maybe that spell
certain-
didn't exist when Harry and Hermione and Ron stole the stuff for the Polyjuice earlier.
Oh, that's
And he's
true.
like, "Oh, I need more security," and then he put the spell on.
Well, they stole that in a different time after class. They
Oh,
caused a
true. That
ruckus,
was
so
midday
his
while
stores
he-
were
yeah,
probably open. They
open.
weren't sealed quite at that moment.
I just find it interesting that like we were introduced to the Polyjuice potion. It doesn't really mean anything, and then later on he's saying the ingredients for a Polyjuice potion, and it seems a lot more powerful of a story now. So I think my theory's right.
And I will say this too, like Rowling is very good at dropping things in at good moments, but
It doesn't mean anything ever.
yeah, and she's brilliant. She might have misdirects and stuff like that. Like she might be dropping something in to lead you astray because
Maybe.
you picked that up about her writing already. Like the
I'm also never dissecting a book until this.
yeah, exactly.
It's on. I think it's here. I was trying to find that.
There is another thing that I want to talk about too, that has everything to do with this, but it's a line that Moody or possibly Barty Crouch, if you think it's Barty Crouch,
I know
says
it gets confusing.
at the end, he says that Harry would be a good Auror and kind of inspires Harry to this new like career profession. Like Harry is like, maybe. Would Barty Crouch say something like that And he's saying he would be a good Auror for his investigative skills. So maybe this is a defense, again, of Moody being the real Moody, is that Crouch didn't seem much like an investigator. And he would like Harry if Harry was being righteously furious against something that went bad. This could be the real Moody because Harry is investigating something very well. And that's that's Moody's department. Moody liked the idea of... sorry.
Every time.
Bark.
Moody liked the idea of investigating. But...
Yeah, because he was more like, he never killed. That's what Sirius said, right? He was like, he tried his best never to kill anyone, bring them to...
He always wanted to bring them to justice. And there's another line here, too, that I want to talk about where it essentially says Moody knows things about Snape's office. He says he's hiding secrets in there. What do you think those secrets would be? And do you think Barty Crouch would know about those things? Because if this really is Barty Crouch, like you're saying, then how would he know that Moody's Snape's office has secrets in it?
I mean, Snape's
because
secretive,
right now...
So.
Yeah. So Moody is talking to Snape here, and he goes, "Reckon they were after potion ingredients, eh?" said Moody. "Not hiding anything else in your office, are you?" And to me, that question seems a little too ominous. It seems a little too on the nose. Like Moody knows, Moody or Crouch, according to your guys' theory. Your wild theory.
My wild theory. Whatever.
It could be how, like, is Snape truly hiding something in his office?
But I feel like if it was something bad, the real Moody, let's say, for this chapter, he would have confiscated it, or he would have really been on the radar and he would have been on top of Snape, like every move he made. So I feel like it wasn't anything like detrimental to like Harry's well-being.
And if Moody and or Crouch could sneak into the office, or midday children could, then finding something suspicious in the office is not necessarily terrible for Snape because anyone could have planted it.
Yeah.
But I think it is weird how much Moody knows about, like, Dumbledore told me to keep an eye on you, or eye on the teachers or the school, and how much Dumbledore trusts him. It just feels weird, like the real Moody would know that stuff, but would Crouch know the relationship between Dumbledore and Moody to be able to, like, adequately fake this to other teachers? I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
But I love seeing Snape so nervous around Moody. It's great. He genuinely is.
So, Jen, I want to go on your theory just for another second because I have more questions for you.
Great.
Is Barty Crouch suspect number one then if he is impersonating Moody? Why is he really impersonating Moody?
Well, it was interesting because at this point I'm like, oh, he's bad. But then when you go to the next chapter, when Sirius is talking to him, it kind of changes my thought process. I don't know which one you want. Because at first I was like...
Give me the bad one right now, and then when we get to the serious discussion, we'll talk about your good theory.
I feel like everyone trusts Mad-Eye Moody. So, like, why wouldn't the bad... Let's say this is Voldemort's... most
servant?
Like, yeah, servant. Which could make sense because he literally... Well, no, because he sent everyone to Azkaban. That wasn't part of the dark. But that could also be a cover, right? You're doing this until it's like the perfect time, or...
I mean, he could be protecting them by sending them to Azkaban. Sometimes it's safer to be in prison than out in the world.
Or you've lost everything at this point. All of a sudden, you're like, well, you lost everything, you know, in these movies and stuff. When they're like, you have nothing, so why don't you just turn to the dark side? And then they, like, do. And then they're doing all this stuff because they have nothing else to live for. So it could be that. And he's like, all right, well, Mad-Eye Moody, everyone trusts him because of his reputation. And if I cover as him, Dumbledore will believe me. I can get access to a lot more things, a lot more teachers. I can probably even get Harry to trust me more because Mad-Eye Moody has a good reputation. And Sirius even said, all the people you can trust, and Mad-Eye Moody is one of them. So I feel like it would just tee up for the best, like, undercover to get Harry in a situation to bring him to Voldemort or whatever he wants to do with him.
And we've said from day one, Moody is one of the people we trust the most. So
exactly.
to get someone that we trust the most, and that Harry probably trusts the most, that's a really good plot. But how?
But how what? To get Harry?
How did Barty Crouch take Moody's person?
I mean, they were together a few times, so he could have totally taken hair off of him.
Yeah.
But to subdue him.
How? Why would you just...
Well, because where is he now?
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but
so
he's
I feel like
powerful
he would have to,
enough.
You think Crouch is more powerful than Moody? Maybe just the element of surprise.
I feel like they both are equal in my mind, I guess. They just have different skill sets.
Yeah.
So here's another futuristic point. From this point on, is every instance that we see Moody, is that going to be Barty Crouch? I don't know. Because if it's not, and it's Moody is coming back, then the next day Harry goes to class and like says, "Hey, thanks for backing me up in the hall last night."
That's
and
where I'm gonna play detective
what?
And figure out how this plays out.
Like, what?
It's like either Mad-Eye Moody, Crouch as Mad-Eye Moody is certain situations that's like after school, after hours, like those things where he can get away with Mad-Eye Moody sleeping and doing like being away, or Mad-Eye Moody is under some spell, maybe even the illegal spell that like he was teaching in his classes, and is stuck somewhere on like a hamster wheel, just going over on and on and on, and Crouch is taken over. I have to see his character traits in the next few chapters.
Yeah. I was trying to think if there were like words that Moody said or that Crouch said that we could try and compare, like linguistic things to line up. Didn't really have time to dig in deep. I go back and forth.
I know it seems very weird, but there's part of me that's like, I don't know. There's a few things I just like feel like
if this is the real Moody and Crouch just came over to go into Snape's office, I'm curious what he wanted and if he got it, and then where he's going with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it feels weird.
Like what else? I guess like to me it doesn't make. What else would he be getting?
Yeah, agreed.
So let's pivot the discussion then to Snape, because Snape seems like a really strange bad character, regardless if this is real Moody or who you think Barty Crouch Moody. What is in Snape's office that this person is after?
I mean, he's a potion guy, so there's maybe something.
Wait, so we know it's Barty Crouch that's in Snape's office,
right? Period. Because of the map.
Whether it was Moody, as Moody or not.
Exactly.
What was Barty Crouch truly after in Snape's office?
I feel like it almost confirms to me that Crouch is up to no good. He's either Moody or he's stealing from Snape, but like that feels really fishy unless he's trying to catch Snape doing something bad.
Because we learn a lot about Snape's backstory in some of these. Not a lot, but we know that he was given a second chance, and we're going to talk about what his second chance might be.
Yep.
And then we have this description. Snape suddenly did something very strange. He seized his left forearm convulsively with his right hand, as though something on it had hurt him.
Yeah.
Which is your theory, which is kind of fun, that they have a tattoo of the dark mark on their forearm.
I don't know, like glows. Well, because Crockpot was like, he was saying like, look, it's never been more clear.
Yeah.
To Snape, and Snape's getting upset at him. So to me, it's like, I'm wondering, do they all have some kind of mark on their wrists? As Voldemort's power gets stronger and he can protect them, it shows up because they're all tagged. And like, oh, okay, like now I can act like my full dark wizard self because he'll protect me because it's like full power. And like, I guess that's what I was thinking when he was talking to Snape. I've never seen it at full power. Or it could be the complete opposite and be like a warning, like they're no longer in the dark wizard world, but they are still attached in this way. So they're like, I've never seen it get so close, or I forgot what he said, so clear,
I think.
and they're concerned. Like, now, okay, we are no longer part of it. If Voldemort comes back into power, we're in deep trouble because we've betrayed the Dark Wizards, and we're now on this side. So what is he going to do to us? Like, I could see, like, both sides, but that's my theory.
Spots that never come off.
Well, that's the other thing that I was like, a spot. I thought it was, what's the word I want when it's not real? Like,
Fake.
No, a metaphorical term, like spots
yeah.
that never come off. But then he points
says
to
it
his
again,
forearm.
though.
Yeah.
I know he says it twice, and then he points to his forearm. So I'm like, wait, is it actually like a spot, which could be a mark from being in the dark wizarding world?
But I think I'm also just confused about that too. Like, let's say it's Crouch Moody, and he says this to Snape. Is this a knowing thing? Like, hey, we're both bad. Wink, wink. Like, you feel that burning sensation in your arm, and like he's causing this, right? Like, is this a weird moment of trust between the two of them? Like, I was in your office for good reason, or like, let me get away with something. I'm making your arm burn right now, or is it true intimidation and he's getting in Snape's head? Because we know that Snape, or we assume Snape and Karkaroff have the same mark on their arm. So, for the same reason they're sneaking off and whispering about stuff, they're in something together. And now it makes me wonder if Crouch is in it with them too.
Or there could be another secret club where, like, all the people that left Voldemort that actually want to be good are in a club together.
All the ex-Voldemort people in the club.
What would that club be called? The ex-Voldy Club?
The crock pot.
The crock pots.
Oh, man.
Who is Lord Voldemort's most devoted servant?
Crouch.
Or Karkaroff.
Or Snape. Snape's been undercover for
Bagman.
years. I know, this is why it's so annoying. There's like 4 people that I think it could be still. But how long has Snape been a professor? Do we know that yet? No.
No.
We've got hints
part of
about
me-
it. It's been a long time.
I wonder, though, could it be such an undercover job where it's like, we didn't kill Harry Potter, but you need to go to the school because Harry Potter's eventually going to be in that school, and you're going to catch him when he's old enough to be in that school.
So this plot has been
So-
years in the making.
Years in the making, and Snape is, I'm just saying, that's going
As
to be
the backup plan.
Snape, you're just going to play it cool. You get a second chance, Dumbledore. You're going to play it like super, like, you're going to protect him when you can, whatever. And when I tell you go, that's when you do it.
Could Dumbledore be deceived that easy?
I don't know. He sees everything.
Yeah, I mean, he was deceived by Quirrell. He was deceived by Lockhart.
But was he? Or he just allowed things to happen?
That's kind of been one of our go-to little debates.
Yeah.
Does he know? Can he read minds? Does he allow things to happen or people to go through pain? Or
I mean, there was that one moment that is slightly disturbing where he flies away from the school and then he flies back, but there's almost this idea where he flew away knowing, we'd had this discussion where he flew away knowing that Harry would be able to deal with this. But that's a little concerning to me that it's Quirrell de Mort. Like, Voldemort's on the back of his head. And
Dumbledore
just
knew and
leaving
like
him.
left.
Yeah.
that was a weird moment, but he turned around
Yeah, for sure.
and came back, which is also weird.
But then he's not all knowing because why would he have left in the first place?
But how did he know mid-flight to London
Yeah.
that he needed to be back at Hogwarts?
He just
and
had a
then
sudden
he returned.
urge to come back.
Either way, that change of plans seems to imply that Dumbledore has to adjust. He doesn't know everything infinitely. He might have a really good feel for what's going to happen, but he can be wrong and have to change plans and kind of say, all right, I better go back and help Harry. Or, yeah.
Why is this whatever is on their forearm, why is it getting clearer to you, Jen? What is the reason that it's getting clear?
I think it's somehow correlated to Voldemort's power getting stronger. Like he's
gaining gaining power. So their tattoo to you is gaining strength.
Yeah.
Gaining ink.
Yeah. Glowing. Because I don't know what else it could be.
I almost thought of it more like a punishment. Like people who had worked for Voldemort in the past got this as like a reminder mark so that they couldn't hide.
Almost like a scar, which is kind of what Harry has to an extent. And so maybe there's more pain associated with that, and the same pain that Harry experiences maybe to an extent.
Yeah, like Harry experiences it in his forehead, but I feel like other people in other ways. And I think when I first read it, just like the spot doesn't come off, I was thinking the Ministry is putting this on people. Like as a mark to say like we'll give you another chance, but we want other people to be able to identify that you were involved in whatever. So here's a
that
mark.
makes sense too. But then how is it getting clearer?
Well, that I don't fully get that. That is weird, but it feels like the kind of thing that Moody would be in tune with. If he was real Moody, maybe not Crouch Moody, but real Moody would know as an Auror. He's like, oh yeah, a bunch of these people, like the ex-cons of the wizarding world, have this mark on them, and he has some ability to, shock collar these people with their mark, or track them through the mark or whatever it is, because it felt like he knew that was going to cause Snape pain here. And that's the part that I'm confused about.
That's the chest that he opens.
Tracker?
I just open the chest. And he hits the button and
he's got like some powerful weapon in there, like a GPS screen, a little command center.
There's just one more question that I have of this chapter.
Just one more?
Mm-hmm. It says Moody winked at him. Is every time Moody blinks, is that a wink?
Yeah, which eye winks? Great question.
Oh, he only has one eye.
Every time he looks at a student and blinks, you're like, oh, Moody winked at me right there.
He winks all day long.
I mean, there is another side note to all this that we just talked about too. The idea that he encourages Harry in being an Auror, which is a really cool thing, I think. Harry has never thought about his profession before. And I feel like this is a moment where he kind of thinks about it, where he's like, like that's an interesting idea there. And I feel
like he would be good at it.
Yeah. This is why maybe this is my defense that this is the real Moody, because would Barty Crouch, if Barty Crouch is evil, really be encouraging Harry to go be an Auror?
This does feel like going above and beyond if it's Crouch. But we don't know Crouch's endgame. Even if he stole stuff, we don't know if he's good or bad. If he's pretending to be Moody, we don't know. But this feels like the nicest side of Crouch we've ever seen if it's him.
Yeah.
He's like, what, giving career advice to Harry?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but it also could be like a slap in the face. Like, yeah, you should be an Auror, but you don't even know what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's
like
true,
later Harry's going to feel silly because he's like, oh, I'm a terrible Auror. I couldn't see
this is like
Crouch right in front of me.
That's actually heavy. That's like, this is the worst kind of trash talk of all time. Exactly. Where you say something and you're like, you should be an Auror, Harry. And
exactly.
I bet you never
Harry
see
doesn't
evil
see
right in front
directly in front of him.
You
and
can
then
sniff it right
when
out.
Harry finds out, he's like, I'm never going to be an Auror in my entire life.
Yep.
Wow.
See?
Jen is on fire tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Advanced trash talk.
I told you. Chapter.
Let's go to chapter 26, unless you had anything in this one, Danny.
Give him a second.
There's a lot, and we'll revisit some of this too as we go on.
Yeah, there's a lot. Let me just read through my actual notes because I listened to it. Oh, I didn't know Hagrid actually bred the blast-ended Scroots.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny and also weird and also probably over the line. And I'm like, man, Hagrid did it again. Just like show the kids unicorns and chill for a little. Stop like getting crazy. Oh yeah, perfect bathroom sounds amazing. There's a diving board in there? Question mark.
Yeah. What the heck are the prefects doing? Are you kidding me with this?
Yeah.
That's because they have to follow so many rules. They need to relax after.
Myrtle should scout the lake for him.
Yeah, seriously.
And why doesn't Harry want to visit Myrtle? Well, she's creepy.
Harry's going to need a restraining order very soon.
Oh, yeah. The Weasleys should make him a canary cream, but the fish version.
Oh, man. They need to talk to freaking Fred and George. Would have been so good at this. There's also a lot of debate. The most recent podcast that we just published, we talked about Fred and George. We had a few people on our subreddit talk about what they feel like is the difference between Fred and George.
Ooh,
Because
nice.
usually we think of them only as a pair, and it's kind of headcanon for some people on our subreddit, because one person commented and made a thread, and a few other people commented underneath that Fred is the more extroverted one, and George is a little bit more
Ooh, I like
introverted,
that,
and like the one that he just kind of goes along with the pranks because Fred really likes doing things. Because Fred seems to be the voice of the two.
Yep.
Oi, Angelina.
Yeah,
Go to
that's
the ball
exactly
with
what
me.
I thought.
And they're dancing like crazy, and you don't see George doing anything. You don't even know who his date is. So
You don't hear him talk that much
Yeah.
either.
yeah,
It's
So
always Fred.
I kind of like that idea that Fred's a bit more
That makes
extroverted.
sense.
Makes me happy. I'm akin with George.
All right, I'm good. That was
in
it for
Harry
this
Potter world.
chapter.
I don't know.
All right. Yeah. The second task. Give me a very quick, short description.
That's you, Kristen. I could. Well, the title
I don't have
says it all.
anything.
Oh, but we
Extensive.
were also back on this thing when he was
Ooh.
listening to the egg, right? And
Yeah.
the rhyme that was in the chapter before, right?
Yeah.
The egg and the eye. And then we were trying to figure out, like, we were going back and forth on theories of like what the item is that they would have to get. They have an hour, and you have to find like your, I don't know.
Something
This is-
precious. Something you're gonna miss.
So yeah, so then it was interesting because I thought it was something like the egg, the golden egg, how it's a part of the Triwizard tournament, and that's what you're going for. So I was like, oh, in this next task, it seems as though he's gonna have to deal with people that are under the water
Mhm.
and mermaid, because he ended up saying merman, right?
Yeah.
At the end, he figured it out quickly.
Yep.
Better than Cedric.
Yep.
And I thought I thought it would be another item, like a golden egg. So like the next task would be a Triwizard item that belonged to you that you have to get. So that's how I went into this. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. What's the next item that they has to get
Yeah.
for it to bring them to task 3? And I was surprised.
Yeah. Surprise. It is Ron, Hermione, Cho, and Gabrielle.
That's so messed
Oh
up.
man,
I know. I love Ron's stretching of the truth, though. I fought them.
Oh my gosh.
So great.
Wait, was that
Hours.
also
Glory.
in this chapter when McGonagall is like, I need to speak to you? Or is that in
Yeah, yep.
26?
That is.
Maybe it's in 26.
I feel
think
like that's
it's
the beginning of
26.
this chapter where
Yeah.
I think the second task is the
McGonagall
beginning,
has
yeah.
to talk to Ron and
Yeah.
Hermione.
Because this is where Harry learns it, and then all the stuff happens, and he has to figure out how to hold
Right.
his breath, and that's when they're studying. So the second task, very short, I'll give the description, is they are trying to figure out what the second task, how to accomplish this, how Harry can hold his breath underwater, how he
Right.
can swim,
For an
how
hour.
he can do this, in freezing water, which I would much rather take on a dragon than swim in freezing water, even if I didn't even have to find an object. Just swimming in freezing water? No, thank you.
And
I don't
he
wanna
just wore his
swim in any
robes. Like,
water.
what are you doing?
I know.
Ridiculous.
I know.
He did not prepare at all for
Yeah.
this, it seems.
But
Did,
Dobby came in for the
Yep,
the clutch.
I know. So,
Sorry, I'm
did
getting
you? There was a hint in the chapters prior that this was actually what the task was. That it had to do with the Great Lake. Do any of you know where that was?
No.
Hmm.
I was lucky I knew it was about mermaids.
They were on their way near the lake somewhere, and
When they
Victor
were
Crumb.
walking around?
They see Victor Crumb jumping off into the icy depths below, and they go, "Oh, he must have been used to the cold water, and it probably feels like a warm bath to him." I forgot exactly what chapter that was.
That
But-
was, I think, when
Do you
Ron
remember
and Harry and Hermione were walking around the lake or
When
something.
they were
Maybe,
walking
yeah.
Like
forever.
3 laps or
When you were
whatever.
like trying to figure out how
Yeah.
big the lake
Yeah.
was.
And, yeah. And they saw him jumping, I assume, off his ship, maybe?
Mhm. So he was practicing his transfiguration, jumping into
Why?
Because he knew it
that's
already.
Because he already knew.
Kakarov's.
Well,
He
McGonagall
already
already
knew what the thing
knew.
was. Yeah.
Dumbledore knew. Hagrid, I think, knew too.
So
Everyone
Crumb
knows, and that's
figured-
why it's lame that
Yeah.
Harry's the last to know.
But then that's terrible because he sucked.
Yeah,
he only
No,
got his
still,
head to
yeah.
change.
I know. Yeah. It was
He
rough.
likes flying, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
likes
He's a
fly-
flyer. He's not a
oh.
swimmer. There's got to be some
got nervous.
underwater broom. That'd be a fun game.
That
Like
would
you're
be sweet.
on like little missiles. Little
Well, I was even
torpedoes.
trying to think
We
if
could
there was a
create
way to
one.
do that, like
Can
creating a
fly
bubble around
underwater.
yourself and then just like
Wasn't
diving
that
in
what?
with
That's
your
what
broom.
one
That's
of
what
them
Floor
did.
and
Yeah.
that's what both of them
Yeah.
did. Floor and
Cedric,
Cedric.
they did.
So
The
if you
bubble
did that
head
with a
charm.
broom, although it would make Harry look a little lame, he just keeps going to his broom every time.
Yeah.
What? That's
But-
the best skill you have. You use your
Yeah.
your good.
Yeah, it's so true.
Harry
But
won the 3 tasks.
I
starts
just didn't
flying
realize
around
how
the room.
much the points were going to be also about the how it was done, not just did it get done or not.
Yeah.
It was like points for how good you made it look and how like much it showed your skills. Like even with Crumb, he got it done, but they didn't like his kind of sloppy charm or spell.
Yeah.
So he got docked some points for that. So
He
maybe there's
almost
style points
bit
here too.
Hermione.
I know.
Like, he went into chomp at her.
Yeah, that was a little extreme.
He doesn't have the smarts.
He's an athlete.
This chapter though opens up and Neville is actually flying Professor Flitwick across the. What'd you say?
What he's
Oh.
What? What do you have?
No, I just made a comment. I don't think you heard it. I'm like, well, when he's editing, he will.
Oh, we'll hear it.
What?
I
Come
don't
on.
know. You'll hear it.
We'll find
Come
out.
on, guys.
We were talking about athletes.
We'll find it.
Okay.
That's
Anyway,
okay.
Professor
What's the next question?
Professor Flitwick.
Neville flies Professor Flitwick across the class, which is insane. That's like
That is insane.
Is Neville truly a good magician? Is he truly a good wizard here?
I missed
He just
that.
doesn't know it. That cracked me up, that part.
Yeah. He
It's like
sends
he's
Flitwick
sending
flying
teachers
across
flying
the room.
across.
And he does it very
He must
well.
have been mortified, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I pictured him being like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But is this a classic case of a kid that doesn't know his own strength? Is Neville
Yeah.
truly one of the most powerful wizards at this school, but he just doesn't know his own strength and doesn't have the confidence to do it? Has he shown that in any other instance? I mean, he's a very good herbology student, but that's about it.
We never really see that though.
Yeah, we don't.
They just say
They
it.
just say it, so maybe he's not.
So I don't even know what that means though.
Trying to
Like,
make
what
him
does that
feel better.
mean? I know what herbology is, but like, how do you show that off
Yeah.
outside of class?
I guess
Yeah.
if your friend is doing challenges and really needs to get his hands on some important weeds to make him breathe underwater, you could help out maybe.
Well, why didn't he go to him?
It's a
That-
different kind
No,
of
Or he
it's so
doesn't go
true.
to anybody.
Harry didn't go to a single person, just
Yeah.
the
Hermione?
library, right?
Yeah.
He didn't
And
even
why
go-
wasn't there anything in the library? That's weird.
Yeah.
On
It does
mermaid
seem
people.
weird,
Google.
right?
Her Hogwarts, please
You're
get
right.
Google.
That keeps
Right.
happening
You're
every
killing
book.
me.
It's like if they could have just
No.
searched it better.
know.
It feels a little lame that Dobby saved Harry so much in this one. Like he wouldn't have been able to do a thing without
Yep.
Dobby. So it feels like I want Harry to win, but if he does, it's not just.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, ugh.
They all cheated though.
Yeah. If
I
what's
guess.
his face has been practicing for how long?
But that's
True.
okay. Practice is legitimate. Why
But
can't
he
you
but
practice?
he knew.
Yeah, because he figured the clue out.
Oh wait, he
Karkaroff.
figured it out right
Oh,
away. I'm thinking
that was
he
before. My
cheated.
timeline is way off.
Oh,
So he
honestly, you're
knew-
right. I was kind of
He
thinking that
figured the-
too, but you're
I
right.
mean, he might have cheated. Karkaroff probably just gave him the information to be
I
honest.
But
thought
he
this
actually,
was from
but
like
theoretically
day
could
one.
have just
Yeah,
figured out
yeah.
the clue because when Harry and
Oh,
Hermione were
that's
walking
fine.
around the lake, that was after the first task.
Yeah.
That was when Ron was
Oh.
already
Oh,
mad
okay.
at Harry.
Yeah.
So that's Hermione was already saying,
No,
Harry,
no,
you
it
should really be
wasn't.
solving this clue.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
It was after. I don't know exactly the timeline, but I forget.
No, I thought it was when
Oh wait, you're right.
she
It
was
couldn't
talking
be
to
Ron couldn't be mad at
Hermione
him
was talking, yeah, to Harry about like
about the situation with him and Ron.
yeah, that's
Well,
what
maybe
I thought.
I
and like
confused that.
talking
Maybe them doing laps around the lake wasn't when they saw.
Yeah. It
Crumb
might have been at a
doing
different
the-
time. I forgot exactly. when,
Yeah,
but
the
they definitely
timeline's
saw
a
him
it
little
diving
fills your
off.
story, whatever.
No, I genuinely don't know, but he could be cheating, could not.
Kidding.
Oh my god.
Devil's advocate right
Classic.
at you.
Here's the more important question, and this is kind of the chunk of I think what I want to talk about in the chapter. Moody said Dumbledore only lets Snape stay here because he's giving him a second chance. And then Harry goes, I just want to know what Snape did with his first chance if he's on a second one. What did Snape do that he needs a second chance?
Something not good.
Great answer.
Maybe he tried to get
Well-
revenge on the bullies at school.
Hmm.
Maybe he joined Voldemort, and that's where he got the mark on his arm.
But now it makes sense why he's never the dark The defense against the dark arts
teacher.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Because this is your second chance. You were caught with something in the dark wizarding world, so there's no way you're going to be teaching the kids those skills.
Because Sirius says later that he could do dark magic that 7th years couldn't when he was at a 1st year. So he was dark before he got in, but we don't quite exactly know why he's getting a second chance here.
And like a lot of his friends went to Azkaban, right?
Yeah. Does he deserve a second chance?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to give it to him, but Dumbledore knows everything.
Snape's an interesting dude.
I think he's a potions guy, so like...
Yeah, double whammy. Double weirdo.
He's a loner.
What's wrong about being a loner?
He's in the bathroom all the time.
I was waiting for that comeback.
Yeah, he's hanging on the bathroom. He's in the other bathroom right next to my bathroom.
Yep. Coming up with potions in the big tubs.
Yeah. I'm hiding from people. He's in the bathroom coming up with potions.
I'm curious about his family life.
I was literally just going to say that.
To come into school knowing dark magic beyond 7th years.
Maybe that's his thing. That his parents were these dark wizards, and his first chance was, okay, you can come to Hogwarts even though you came from a background of dark wizard parents.
Maybe that's a great point.
That could be his first.
Yeah, that's a great that's very
and then he did something and he got a second chance.
That sounds like third chance.
Third chance, fourth chance.
All the chances.
Whatever. You guys with your numbers, just leave me alone.
Either way, I don't know. If it's too bad, then I'd feel like no second chances. But everyone deserves a second chance.
Yeah, for sure. Are you guys taking Grubbly Plank or Hagrid as a teacher?
Love Hagrid, but
Hermione
he's not a good teacher.
No.
He's just not. Like, even though, like, Hermione said it, she's like, oh, goodness, I don't want to hate on Hagrid, but it was a good class.
Yeah, it was a great lesson.
But
they
Hagrid had a good class, too,
unicorns.
with the hippogriff. Except that it ended with
my dream. Sorry, I totally interrupted
unicorns,
you.
yeah.
I just got
because Jen is like, fire Hagrid.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Plank. I love Hagrid to death, but get him out of here. He's a
great friend. I just want to learn about the unicorns.
Also, I'm going to a little bit blame Dumbledore. Because anyone who's going to teach has to be trained, you know? You got to, like, give some guidance. How's he going to know how to do it? He's never done it before.
Then I'm wondering, what's her name again? The professor?
Grubbly Plank.
That name.
I know. Because I just love how a professor's missing for a day or however long, and all of a sudden there's a replacement substitute. Like, where are these people? Are they retired? And Dumbledore's like, I need you to come back.
She was the prior defense.
She was. She did say
and
that?
she chose to retire to spend the remaining time with her remaining unicorns. Limbs or something like that. I think that's in the movie. I don't know if that's in the book. Actually.
I was like, I didn't catch any of that in here.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, she's the old teacher for Care Magical Creatures.
I just want to pet a unicorn.
She should train Hagrid for a little bit.
And
for real.
Sparkles.
Like half a year of co-teaching, let him learn.
But this is, too, why we love Hagrid. Because Hagrid is not just about... He's not a bigot toward creatures that are beautiful and show-offy. He's going to show these nasty, annoying creatures like dragons and blast end scroots. And he's going to try to teach his students how to see the beauty in them. And he's not doing a very good job, to be honest. But he's showing them maybe the appreciation for all creatures. Yeah.
Yep.
Which might be a greater value than Grubbly Plank. Only showing them the elite and the great creatures like unicorns and, phoenixes or whatever other creatures that are incredible. These pure creatures.
But like
Hagrid's
colts, like unicorn little baby colts.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're called.
Jen's like, but they're gold unicorns as colts. And they're silver and then they're white.
So pretty.
Yeah. It'd be cool. This lesson would be really fun.
What are male unicorns color? Was it just females? Anyway, sorry.
They're an ugly gray. Like
probably. That makes sense.
Harry regrets that he should have learned to become an animagus like Sirius during this task. And he's joking, of course, but I want to bring back this point mainly to Kristen. what would you be if you could be an animagus? And why would it be a fly?
I hate you. Goodness gracious.
At this point, though, because it's different now from
Very
you
different.
still want to be a fly?
Yeah, would you still want to be a fly?
No,
or
I'm
would you
sticking
still...
with the freaking fly.
It is still a good one, though. You
Yeah.
could be anywhere
Yeah,
and no one
honestly.
sees you.
Yeah. What would you guys want to transform into?
The dog is a good one. The fact that he can be like in villages and it's normal,
Yeah.
and like around people, and
Yeah.
even in Harry's neighborhood on Privet Drive. I mean, that's ultimate camouflage, blending right in. You know?
He's being a charming dog too. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So being some kind of animal that could look normal in places, maybe I'd still stick with a pigeon or something, chill. You know?
Yeah.
But
Just to be able to fly around.
yeah,
Anything that has wings.
Pigeon.
well, maybe not a pigeon, but I wouldn't want to be an eagle. I don't want people
Yeah.
gawking at me.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be a normal
They're gonna
bird.
be an owl. Or that was you.
Maybe, but I would gawk
Can't
at
be
an
no.
owl big time.
Or a fly. No one gawks at a fly.
Nobody
They
gawks at
kill
a fly.
Well, an owl
Risky.
will
Risky.
eat the
Risky.
fly.
You're the worst.
Although after Harry's underwater experience, it does make me wonder if there's more down in the depths that we don't know about. Like, because then if you were a water thing, it feels like kind of lame. Like, what are you gonna do with that ability? But now we're seeing there are whole worlds you could explore down there.
Yeah.
Lots of creatures you could get to know. Hang with the mermaids.
Yeah, seriously. I also have to just put extra praise on Dobby in this instance. I feel like Dobby is the unsung hero of this book too. And he goes very rapidly to me from a character that's incredibly annoying.
Mhm.
Like you almost just don't like him, to a character that is one of your favorite characters now. For me, at least, when I came to this part of the book and like the descriptions of him like grabbing Harry. Yeah, he's like still a bit much, doesn't know boundaries so much, but he just loves, and he's not ashamed of who he loves, and he doesn't care. He just wants to see the people that he loves. This guy is living life the
he loves
right way.
helping Harry too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually made a note. I was
Yes.
like, you know what? I'm not sure I gave Harry enough credit for setting him free.
Yeah.
First of all, and then Dobby just like in his freedom, he's helping.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
Yeah.
Like
kinda-
so many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Well, Winky
Yeah.
and Harry. But it will be more.
It's gonna be all of them. Yeah, even the House Elf Liberation Front. I love that name a lot more than Spew. Ron's coming out with some zingers over here with the House Elf Liberation Front. I think that's so funny. Soon all house elves are going to be running in the castle, getting wages. It's going to be great.
I love it.
Another small question of how is the crowd watching the second task?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Like they're just at the start and finish.
The mermaids are videoing it and have screens
Yeah.
up above water.
Headcanon right there. Instantly headcanon. I'm actually going to write that in the subreddit right now.
Maybe it's like a marathon where you could be there, but you can only stand in one spot in line.
Yeah.
You got to watch your friend go by for
Yep.
15 seconds.
I mean, you
out
went
of
to the
whole
Tour
Or
de
like
France, right,
the
once?
Yeah,
summer.
that
You
was
see the
fun.
bike riders go past and you're like, well, that's it.
I didn't know any of their names anyway, so it didn't matter. But it
30
was really
seconds.
fun just
Yeah.
to experience it.
Yeah.
And you have to choose your spot wisely. So maybe that's where they're like, this is the perfect spot to sit.
Yeah.
We watch them start, and we get to see who gets up here first to finish.
And shockingly, the Tour de France is the most highly attended sporting event in the world.
They're paying, or they just happen to be walking by.
Well, I did not pay, but it was so highly attended. There was not a single room in the entire town or city of Nice when I I slept
Like
on the
to
street that
sleep.
night.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. Well, I didn't know the Tour de France
There
was
was
going to
no
be
room
there,
in the inn.
but there was no room in the inn. So train
That's
station
crazy.
for me.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, it's very busy and cheap.
Yeah, that's insane. We're into the task though, so no one knows how they're watching the task. But
Wait,
the
I didn't
mermaids
say my thoughts.
give us.
Jen, what are
Like
your
a
thoughts?
submarine, like they have the little eye thing that comes out and like looks around, but it's the opposite from
Whoa.
land down and it looks
Ooh, I
around.
actually like that.
I
That
like
feels
it.
very magical too.
See, look what you were missing
Like
out on,
mirrors
skipping
and
over
stuff.
me.
I like
I'll
it.
never do it again. I'm sorry. Wait, what animal are you gonna be if you're an
Oh shit!
There it is.
You
It
did
happened and
it.
it wasn't me.
Yes.
Give us the explicit rating. Boom.
No, he's gonna mute that.
Only if you want.
He's gonna amplify that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. A unicorn again. Although I want to start as a baby, so I could change in all the colors.
She wants to be
Could that even be possible? Probably not.
Yeah, we'll let you do it. We'll let you do it.
I just want to experience all the glitter.
All
Being
the
gold,
glitter.
then silver, then white, right? I got that right.
Yeah.
And then my mane,
incredible.
and then only ladies can touch me, which maybe that's...
Okay. Class.
On to the second task. They're in.
She was like, wait a second.
Like even as you're saying it, you're like all the benefits
Your
of being
thoughts are going a little too
unicorn.
far, but in your head you catch them a little. When they're out of your mouth, you're like, oh nope, let me get those back in my mouth.
That's great.
That's not
so
what I
funny.
meant.
Oh my gosh. There's this line.
Why did you ask?
This is so entertaining. I have to.
Oh my.
Harry looks around. There was no sign of any of the other champions. What were they playing at? Why didn't they hurry up? He turned back to Hermione, raised a jagged rock, and began to hack at her bindings too. Is Harry an idiot for doing this?
A little bit, yes,
Wait,
but he got caught up in the
didn't-
moment. It makes perfect sense.
I didn't catch anything you
So
said.
when he's trying to free the other champions.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it speaks highly of his character.
Agreed.
Just 'cause
In what way?
Because he cares about. It wasn't even a thought in his mind, like, I'm in a competition and I need to win. It was like, these people are in front of me, 3 that I actually know and care about, and 1 that I don't know. But they're underwater right now and they need to be saved.
Yep.
I'm the only one here that can do that, so I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah.
Like the competition almost
Yeah.
didn't even matter anymore.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That very much is the character of Harry. He doesn't like even the first book when he's like mad at them. He's like, who cares about finals? Who cares about school? Who cares about any of this stuff? Voldemort's in the castle. We need to go figure this out. It's the same instance in this. This is like his hero complex that he has going on too. He just cares more about saving people, and he's moody and he's prideful and arrogant sometimes, but this might be his one of his best attributes at the moment.
Yeah.
He truly fights for other people. Maybe.
I also thought maybe he went back into, like, you know how he's always in these life or death situations with Ron and Hermione, where it's like all of a sudden he's like in that same headspace.
Yeah.
Like, I need to save them. And it's like, I totally forgot. I'm like a wizarding championship where, like, Dumbledore would not allow anyone to get
Yeah.
Right.
harmed.
I actually
Right.
made a comment on that. I said, I think Harry took it seriously because of all the traumatic events he's experienced in
Oh,
his
yeah.
life.
Yeah,
So he's not
seriously.
about to take any
a
chances
great
with
point.
Right.
lives.
Yep. Not worth
If he
the
has
risk.
anything to do with it.
You're right. That's a good point, because I was thinking, well, obviously Dumbledore wouldn't let anything happen, but
Right.
even if there was a 1% chance, Harry wouldn't allow it. So that's legit. Although, well, even for me, I questioned because, again, I was thinking back to the 13 people at the table, and it said the champions and their partners were getting up. So then I thought, oh my goodness, like somebody actually could die here. I didn't think it would be Hermione or Ron, but I was like, Cho might die here. So I was like actually thinking it was a real possibility, whether it was part of the challenge or not. And then I was like, wait a second, maybe this tournament is way over the line, and that's why lives are at stake, because students are getting involved from the champion side and people close to the champion. But that's intense.
Huh. There is a note that I want to make about that prediction too, Danny. That it's interesting you're looking at 13 at a table. The real prophecy, just to keep in mind, is 13 who dine together.
Oh.
So there's
Dine together.
theories that there are a lot more people who are dining together in this hall.
And
than
that's
just
why
13.
it's...
So some people, yeah.
I like that.
Do you?
I'll have to let it...
Danny's going to have to reread all the books now.
I
again. Look at 13 people dining together.
together. Same room, whatever.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense. Only because why would you ever have tables with 13 chairs?
Yeah, for sure.
Unless nobody else really believes this
has
and
to be
Trelawney
blatant,
is the
though.
only person ever.
But even to your
yeah.
point on predictions, drowns twice in these chapters. Harry's going to drown twice in the bath and then in
Does this
the lake.
count as a drowning? It kind of does.
Wait,
Does
that's
the
his
bath
own
count?
prediction.
Almost.
From
Or if
the
Trelawney's
class,
just
that's
seen
what you
Harry's
said?
prediction, yeah.
Oh my god!
Wow, and that's why she gives him such high marks, because it was his
Yeah.
instincts.
Yes.
He didn't even know. He just was,
Because she was
Shooting
probably
from the hip.
confirming it. She's like, wow, Harry actually knows he's going to drown twice.
He's right. I've seen that image in my
Yeah.
dreams.
I've seen that. I've seen both of those.
Wow.
In one, I see Myrtle. I'm looking with Myrtle.
Ew, you're so sick.
And in the other, I mean, she's seeing him in a lake for an hour.
So
It's
true.
drowning.
Yep.
But she doesn't
Yeah.
know about the gillyweed.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah,
Predictions in this book are kind of fascinating.
and she's not such a
Fraud.
terrible a fraud. You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of that word.
Yeah. There is another line in this. So when they all kind of come out of the lake, Dumbledore and Ludo Bagman stood beaming at Harry and Ron from the bank as they swam near. But Percy, who looked very white and somehow much younger than usual, came splashing out to meet them. Percy seized Ron and was dragging him back to the bank. Get off, Percy. I'm all right. Does this change your thoughts on Percy a little bit?
Yeah,
Because it did
Yeah.
for me. A lot, actually.
because didn't Hermione say like, oh, or is that coming up? I forget where. Oh yeah, sorry, it's the next chapter. I think that Percy's like crouched and he would give up anyone
Yeah.
of his
Yep.
family
Yeah.
members for his career.
Such a great contrast right there, yeah.
But that's after this, right?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
which is unfair.
Yeah.
But I think wasn't it Ron who said the more harsh one? I feel like Hermione said something about Percy, and then Ron countered with like a more harsh, like he would give any of us up.
Yeah.
And I
He
was
says that
thinking,
line,
well,
yeah.
it's easy to be harsh against your family, like heat of the moment, like. So I didn't take it too seriously, because I think that'd be a problem if Ron actually thought his brother would give him up. Because you're right, this is a beautiful contrast. Percy clearly cared deeply about Ron in this moment. Could he betray Ron? Not yet. Not on purpose. Although covering for Crouch could be betraying all of the Weasleys in a roundabout way.
Well, that would be great too, though, if Percy's like covering for Crouch, because then Crouch can get closer.
Do you think
to
Percy
Harry.
is taking Polyjuice Potion and acting like Crouch?
No.
Acting like Moody.
Oh.
Double
haven't-
Polyjuice
I
Potion.
haven't seen that character change.
Yeah. And then Hermione's angry that Fleur kissed Ron in the cheek. Does Hermione love Ron?
Well.
I mean, the
Yes.
movies show that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even the book post, what she said in that chapter after the Yule Ball,
Yeah.
You
she
could
was
ask
jealous
me.
big
Yeah.
time.
She kind of was like, thinks it's awesome that Crumb went out with her, but I feel like she still has a soft spot for Ron a bit. Like, ask me out next time instead of leaving me as a last resort. She's like
But
giving
she's
Ron
telling him.
lessons right now. Yeah.
Green light next time.
Yeah. Danny, did your opinion go up of Fleur Delacour in these chapters?
Yeah, definitely. It would be hard to go lower. No, I'm just kidding. It went up just because, at the least, she has the capacity to love. That's
Yeah.
a huge step. Everything so far has felt kind of fake, but to see like deep emotion out of someone, I think is always nice. So seeing her love, that was her sister Gabrielle, right?
Yeah.
So seeing that kind of like love, and even respecting Harry and Ron for it, I was like, great. She became a more well-rounded character.
Yeah.
Now she's not just one-dimensional, arrogant, pretty girl. Now she's got another side to her. So yeah.
Yeah.
She did not deserve 25 points.
Yeah.
But I like her as a person now more.
Yeah, 25 points is a little excessive.
I was like, she
Over
literally
not
just
doing anything.
failed. Why in the world did she get 25
Because
points?
she
for that?
did a
Participation
spell
award.
to go under the water to
Yeah.
last that
Yeah,
long.
that's a
it's
good
like
point.
she
I
didn't
guess.
not do anything.
Well, maybe I just would prefer there be less judging and more like in the first one, bring us the egg. If the egg is here, good, you pass. If not, you fail. Same thing here. Bring us your hostage. If you bring the hostage, you pass. If you don't, you fail.
It
So
is-
25 feels like half credit for letting someone die in the lake, which was according to the
But that
crew.
is half the task. The half of the task was doing a spell to get under the water to survive an hour. She did that. That is half.
Okay. Yeah, if you break it down like that, she did half the task. Yeah. I'm down. I think I viewed it more
that was
like
too easy. I was waiting for a
supposed to
rebuttal.
no. Like I get it. That if they're breaking it down like that, yeah. I just thought of it more like a marathon. Like if you don't finish the marathon,
Yeah.
you know, you don't get anything. You don't get the medal.
I also have a question. This is random about the mermaids. It said their yellowish eyes were fixed upon Harry's wand, and they looked scared. Are they scared of magic in general, or just Harry's wand?
Ooh.
Or it was pointed at them. Like
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
can't
be.
remember.
Or maybe it was like.
Maybe they know something about the twin core of Harry and Voldemort's wand.
And they seem like magical creatures, like the centaurs and stuff, that I feel like they can perceive a little more than the average person.
Maybe there's
So
like a
maybe you're
mermaid
right.
scale, and that they used to use for wand course. And they were persecuted because
Whoa.
of it.
Yes.
Wow, that's
That's
Wait,
a-
are
that's
they
a great
affected
note
by
though, Kristen.
Voldemort too? Then
I think all creatures are.
all creatures are
Yeah.
affected by
Because
Voldemort.
Dobby mentions that we house elves were treated like vermin.
But I guess they're like up above ground, so I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, above the water, whatever.
Yeah. That's a good point. I like that it feels like Dumbledore has a cool relationship there. And it almost seemed like afterwards with the mermaids,
Oh, yeah.
it was like chill. Almost like Dumbledore had said, like, play it up. Look menacing, please.
Yeah,
you know,
for
like,
sure, for sure.
Don't make it too easy
They
on
were
them.
smiling.
Yeah, so it just
they were
like that was
friendly.
kind of funny afterwards that I'm like, oh, even the mermaids were not threatening. It was all part of the show.
It is crazy to me that if a champion didn't get through the first task of getting past the dragon, they would have showed up to the second task not knowing a thing. What the heck are
You're
they
right.
supposed to do?
Just like on the spot, be
I
able
guess
to.
maybe in the back of your head you
Goodness.
know about the bubblehead charm and like you can maybe conjure something, but you would literally just go for a swim in there. You wouldn't be able to do this.
Yep.
It'd be insane.
Well, Harry he wasn't even sure it was gonna
Yeah,
work.
he was gonna. Yeah,
Was he
Ron-
taught the bubble? Like,
Ron
when
is
you
like-
taught the bubblehead shit?
Right, he didn't learn that.
Yeah, he
Seventh
didn't
grade.
learn
Which
that
he
yet.
should have, because that's another good one to just
Yeah.
know.
I guess that's in 5th year or maybe 6th
But I'm
year,
saying,
7th
like,
year.
in the years, like,
Oh yeah, just
because
naturally
there's
learning
the
it
age
in
limit,
school.
Yeah.
Oh,
he would
so
be,
true.
he wouldn't know it.
Yep.
Like he was just too young. He didn't take that class yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have just done what Ron wanted him to, just stick your head down into the water and say, "Oi, give me the whatever it is." Let's go to chapter 27 though, unless you have any more points in chapter 26.
No, I think that's it.
All right, Padfoot returns. Brief description of this unbelievably information-packed chapter.
Do you want me to do it?
This and not the Eye and the Egg are so packed with information.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kristen.
I put the trio meets Sirius in Hogsmeade, and they find a ton of information about Crouch.
Beautiful.
So true.
This is such a funny line in the beginning. We mentioned this before, but one of the best things about the aftermath of the second task is that everybody was keen to hear the details of what had happened down in the lake, which meant that Ron was getting to share Harry's limelight for once. Harry noticed that Ron's version of events changed subtly with every retelling. At first, he gave what seemed to be the truth. It tallied with Hermione's story anyway. Dumbledore had put all the hostages into a bewitched sleep in Professor McGonagall's office, first assuring them that they would be quite safe and would awake once they were back above water. 1 week later, however, Ron was telling a thrilling tale of kidnap in which he struggled single-handedly against 50 heavily armed merpeople who had to beat him into submission before tying him up. I love this so much. Ron getting a little bit of his glory here. So there's another mention here about someone taking wit sharpening potion. Do you think that it would be wise to take potion all the time? Like, what would be the downside of taking wit sharpening potion every morning when you wake up?
I feel like it would be taking medicine too much, because then you're like,
Yes. Okay.
your immune system is not working like it
Huh,
should.
okay.
So then, like, taking that too much, it's like you're dulling your actual
Like
brain
your
cells.
actual brain doesn't
So
have
then
to
when you
work.
right, so then when you have to actually think, you're like, oh, I can't. I gotta take more.
Yep. I like that.
So would that hold true of something like Polyjuice potion?
I
Man.
think, yeah. I feel like we saw that a little bit with Scabbers when he was just a rat for so long, and that was
Yeah.
not even the same. But I feel like with anything, there has to be a consequence. It can't be as simple. Well, some things can be as simple as shrinking your teeth and they just stay that way forever. But I feel like
that's changed the DNA.
There are certain things that are a little different. Well, we don't know enough about magic, but I feel like there is a way you could do body modification and add gills to yourself forever. But if you were chomping on gillyweed every single day and gills were popping in and popping out, I feel like that would have some consequences. Yeah. You'd get some scarring on your neck from the constant changing, or you'd get a headache, or, you'd have weird consequences. But wit potion, you said?
Yeah. Wit sharpening potion.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
At least for key moments, I feel like that's
every
a thing
exam,
you would do.
I'm downing a whole flagon of that.
Right. Before
test.
Challenges like this, why would you not?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wait, who took it?
They were brewing wit sharpening potion.
Oh, okay. So nobody,
or they were making. He was cutting ingredients for the wit sharpening potion, and I'm just thinking if you're making that a big cauldron of wit sharpening potion, you just save a little bit for every key moment of your life.
Yeah.
And I wonder what they actually do with the potions that they brew. I'm sure some of them are unusable, but like if I'm a student there and I brew a perfect wit sharpening potion, I'm stealing some. Easily.
Absolutely. And maybe Hogwarts sells some of it.
Yeah.
Like, because if you can go to Diagon Alley and pick up potions, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Snape was shipping some over there. Yeah. And like this was a bit of his side business. Either that or Etsy. I don't know what he's doing, but
he's got an Etsy account right now.
Yeah. Because you're right. There's plenty good potion.
Yeah.
As long as Snape has supervised.
Veritaserum would sell for so much money. Oh my gosh. This should be... Do you think that this actually should be standard in every trial?
Kind of, yeah.
You have to take a little drink of this Veritaserum?
Yeah, I mean, if you can have a truth serum, why not?
Yeah.
But can it work all the time? I think that's the thing that's weird to me too. Like even a polygraph test is 80% accurate, 85 some people say. That's not good enough to send someone to prison.
Yeah.
So maybe in a trial it could just confuse people, throw people off.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like in this there's a surety of the truth. You ask someone a question and they're forced to give the answer.
That makes sense.
Like the movie Liar Liar.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
So good.
I think it's weird to me that Harry could resist the
Imperious curse.
The Imperious curse. And that's making me question if that's like one of the more extreme forms of magic. It makes me think that there is always a counter to all forms of magic. Even a truth serum. Like if there is a truth serum, is there another serum that forces you to lie? You know what I mean? And if you take that right before you take the truth serum, it balances out. Or like something that makes you immune to a certain ingredient in the truth serum that changes what it does. Like I feel like there's always something you could do, which might be just overly skeptical, but I feel like she's trained us in these books to be overly skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always
it
something.
is really funny how she trains you to read, and it's so fun when you reread them. You're like, oh, she was misdirecting me here because she knew that I knew this about her writing. Like the directions that she goes in is absolutely brilliant
trying
storytelling.
to drop hints about my theory right now.
Really, I want to know, how does Rita Skeeter keep knowing these details? So this whole story comes out with at Witch Weekly of Hermione breaking Harry's heart. But Hermione is a little upset because she doesn't know how Rita knew about Crumb asking her to go spend the holiday with him. How the heck is Rita finding all this stuff out?
Didn't someone say that she might have an invisibility cloak?
Yeah.
I liked that
Danny
theory.
mentioned that, yeah.
And then what about the truth serum? Could she have one?
Ooh.
And she kind of just pours it in people's
She
drinks.
kind of just sprays it as her perfume.
Oh.
Puff, puff.
Wow.
Like
she has the perfumed version.
So everyone who's
Veritaserum.
around her just wants to be a little more truthful.
I like that, actually, the puff puff.
And then she
she
doesn't
can
tell
throw
any
a
of
little
the
bit of
truth
the
in any of the
happiness
articles that
potion
she
in there
writes.
too. So she just all of a sudden she's making people happy and truthful.
Well, she gets the truth, but she twists it.
Yeah,
with her
exactly.
own- Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very ironic because she gets the truth, but then she doesn't really tell the truth.
That's why I was like in the beginning of this, I'm like, oh yeah, Rita Skeeter. Rita Skeet.
It's still an important role.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's doing it, but she's taking it too far. And at first, she really was helping Harry's case with like making him look a little better. But now, this is weird.
Yeah.
But I love that Hermione was so confident. She's finally like doing it right.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to use this against her, and she's like, "That's the best you got." Like that's how you respond to bullying like this.
Yeah.
That's great.
I also think one of the best descriptions that I have of her is that she is a Karen. Like the whole idea with giants at school, she's that person who's like, everything in school needs to be ordered for my children perfectly, even though she doesn't have any children. She's like, Dumbledore needs to look into this. If he doesn't look into this, then I'm going to call all the time and make sure that he looks into this. And you're like, Rita, shut up. Yeah. She's like almost too snitchy and too annoying. Like even with Harry breaking his heart, Hermione breaking Harry's heart, like all the details about that are like, she's like prying too much, just like a Karen would, into someone's personal life, where you're like, know your role, back the heck up.
Yeah.
But Snape has this really vicious line here where he goes, I don't care how many times your picture appears in the paper. To me, Potter, you are nothing but a nasty little boy who considers rules beneath him. What is Snape's issue?
He's so annoying.
I mean, to be fair, Harry does ignore rules all the time. But he's not a nasty little boy. That, I'll fight him on that. But
The way he speaks to children is not okay in my mind. I'll never be okay with it.
yeah,
It
it's
is,
over the line.
it is jarring.
absurd.
It is crazy. And then this is when he tells him about truth serum. It's Veritas serum, a truth potion so powerful that 3 drops would have you spilling your innermost secrets for this entire class to hear. Snape said viciously. He's intense.
I still can't figure him out though.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many like thoughts, but nothing adds up. Yeah.
We don't have anything like crazy concrete on him yet. We know
And
like
that's true too.
sentences and lines of his stories, and there's so much of that we know. He has such a layered story right now. And even this next thing that happens, Crockpot walks into his office, and what's so urgent? He heard Snape hiss at Karkaroff. This, said Karkaroff, and Harry, peering around the edge of this cauldron, saw Karkaroff pull up the left-hand sleeve of his robe and show Snape something on his forearm.
A tattoo.
On his inner forearm, a tattoo of the Dark Mark, maybe, according to Jen. Well, said Karkaroff, still making every effort to not move his lips. Do you see? It's never been this clear. Never since... Put it away, snarled Snape, his black eyes sweeping the classroom.
Do you know what page that is?
Ooh, I don't know.
519.
Don't put pages on it.
Yes.
Are we on page 500? Good.
Wow,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
I haven't read a book this size maybe ever.
We
job.
are
Congratulations.
booking our way through this book. We are going fast, and the next book's even longer.
Non-readers over here.
I know.
So this is where it's a thing. It's a visible thing.
Yeah.
And it has not been this visible since.
Jen's
Most
theory is an
of
interesting
Snape's
one.
friends... No, not most. But he was in a group of friends that a lot of them became Death Eaters. And I just can't figure out, is this part of that little crew? Did they all do a thing to their arms as a little gang
Or
thing?
maybe Snape carries around this truth serum to find out if people are who they say they are, or if they're under Voldemort's power. You know how like you can control. So like, what if someone can control you with these illegal spells, but if you give them a truth serum,
It exposes whether they're under the Imperius
Yeah.
or not.
and maybe
Wow.
that's why Snape always keeps it on him,
Hmm.
because I don't know.
Because he could check.
Because maybe he's been
like
caught
it.
before. So maybe like all his friends, I'm trying to give him benefit of the doubt. I don't like Snape, but what if all his group of friends were like the bullied kids and they're all like the losers, and like people like Tom Riddle and them pick on this group, and they ended up being under control by the Dark Wizards. So then they conjure up they become Death Eaters by like association. Maybe not really. And then maybe that's why Dumbledore gave him a second chance.
Because he messed up in school.
Because he was in the wrong crowd, but he was able to fight all, like maybe he wasn't able to be under control because he was stronger than his friends. And then maybe that's why he always carries the truth serum.
Because he wants to know what people's motivation are.
Exactly. Because he's been in that crowd scene situation before. Dun, dun, dun. All right, I'm done.
There's another note in this book, and then we move into the section because again, Snape is an interesting one. We're going to talk about him in a bit when they go to Sirius, and on their way to Sirius, this little note happens where they bring him food and they bring him drumsticks, and Sirius goes, "Thanks," opening it, grabbing a drumstick, sitting down on the cave floor, and tearing off a large chunk with his teeth. "I've been living off rats mostly. Can't steal much food from Hogsmeade. I draw attention to myself." What?
Sorry, I'm just laughing because I just registered. I'm like, is he trying to catch Wormtail? Like he's only eating.
My question. Look at my question right there. Do you think Sirius is trying to eat Peter Pettigrew?
And it's only because you set it up that way.
So funny.
Nice.
When your eyes lit up, I was like, please say what my question was, and you nailed it. That is so funny.
I didn't even register that until you were like reading it to us. I'm like, that's why it's only rats.
He can eat anything else that he wants, but he's only eating rats because he's like, one of these days,
one
I'll
of
get
them will be every rat I see for the
and I'm
rest
gonna
so
know that it's gonna
great.
taste a lot sweeter than the other rats.
Oh man,
That's so funny.
wow, we're on the same level.
I know.
Great.
I'm really a nerd.
Yes.
Embrace it, honey.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome.
Embrace.
Welcome to the community.
Yes.
What is Crouch's deal, though? We get more information about Crouch here, and we've talked about him, so we don't have to keep talking about him as ad nauseum. But what is Crouch's deal?
He cares more about how people view him. And I'm so mad I didn't say that the last podcast. It was going through my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, though. But I was getting the feeling, like, with the whole Winky thing, and you guys were talking about how he got rid of her. And I was like, it made him look bad. And I didn't, because I honestly don't remember any of this. But, like, he cares about how other people view him. Mm-hmm. So that made him look bad. So he was like, I got to get rid of this.
Yeah. And he has to get rid of even his own son.
Yeah.
Right.
Because his son is making him look bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Which, none of that is okay. But.
Well, then it was also like he wasn't even giving trials to anyone, right? He was just so fed up with anything dark magic association that they were just being thrown in Azkaban without a trial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's messed up.
Yeah,
too.
seriously.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like justice to me.
No.
So it makes me think something fishy was happening back then, too.
Is there ever a time that you need a leader like that, though? I mean, the times of, like, deep, crazy war. It's the pendulum swing,
I guess,
right?
yeah.
So, like, Voldemort happens, then you need someone who is the extreme of Voldemort to maybe balance things out. So even if you're throwing in tons of people and they don't even get trials, sometimes you need that. Just playing devil's advocate here, by the way. I really don't like Crouch in this moment, especially in this instance. He's not like truly letting justice stand, which is why I like Moody a lot more, which is why your theory is interesting to me. Because I really love Moody because you even see this. Like Moody was someone who never brought in people dead, always alive, always gave them a fair trial. He seemed a lot more noble than Crouch was. Crouch was just being Voldemort's opposite, which is really unhealthy.
Well, it says, sorry, I would say he became as ruthless and cruel as many on the dark side.
Mm.
Was that Sirius that said that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting how we can think we're doing the right thing, but sometimes we're still completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like go stark opposite of the person that is clearly in the wrong. Doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
By just doing the opposite.
Yeah, that's so good. There's a really great line in here where Sirius rebukes Ron a little bit and said, Sirius shook his head and said, she's got the measure of Crouch better than you have, Ron. If you want to know what a man's like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. It's just such a great line in the books too,
So
just
good.
period. That's a fantastic line, and such a good line in this whole entire series. And I think it's so good. Although, if Hedwig is the inferior of Harry is not looking too good, and Ron is not looking too good with Pigvision, and the gnomes that they were de-gnoming from the garden, throwing everywhere, and there's a lot of other inferiors, quote.
They're young. They have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But
So
they
they're still
treat
growing.
Neville pretty well.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Creevy brothers, they're learning. You
And
know?
we get this on our stream too. People are commenting about Harry and how we think he's moody and all that kind of stuff. He is a kid still. He is learning and he's growing. All kids at that age
So
are
true.
moody and annoying and you know.
I think about
So-
myself back then. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
So
Goodness gracious.
yep.
Yep.
I want to read this long chunk to you guys because I think this is a really interesting chunk about Crouch. And Sirius says, well, times like that bring out the best in some people and the worst in others. Crouch's principles might have been good in the beginning. I wouldn't know. He rose quickly through the ministry, and he started ordering very harsh measures against Voldemort's supporters. The Aurors were given new powers to kill rather than capture, for instance. And I wasn't the only one who was handed straight to the Dementors without a trial. Crouch fought violence with violence and authorized the use of the unforgivable curses against suspects. I would say he became as ruthless and cruel as many on the dark side. He had his supporters, mind you. Plenty of people thought he was going about things the right way, and there were a lot of witches and wizards clamoring for him to take over as Minister of Magic. When Voldemort disappeared, it looked likely only a matter of time until Crouch got the top job. But then something rather unfortunate happened, and Sirius smiled grimly. Crouch's son was caught with a group of Death Eaters who'd managed to talk their way out of Azkaban. Apparently, they were trying to find Voldemort and return him to power. What do you think of Crouch and his son in the dark side? Because we get another line that happens after this, which is just another fascinating take where he dies in it. And Sirius goes, he wasn't the only one, said Sirius bitterly. Most go mad in there, and plenty stop eating in the end. They lose the will to live. You can always tell when a Death Eater was coming, because the Dementors could sense it. They got excited. That boy looked pretty sickly when he arrived. Crouch being an important ministry member, he and his wife were allowed a deathbed visit. That was the last time I saw Barty Crouch, half carrying his wife past my cell. She died herself, apparently shortly afterward. Grief. Wasted away, just like the boy. Crouch never came for his son's body. The Dementors buried him outside the fortress. I watched them do it. What do you think about this information dump on Crouch and his son and his wife? What do you think of these people?
I feel like it helps us understand Crouch a little more today, like where he's at and why he works so hard. I also love that Sirius still is trying to be fair in the way he discusses things. I felt like it was a bit harsh when he would smiled a little bit when he was talking about Crouch's son being caught. But then he says the boy was definitely caught in the company of people I'd bet my life were Death Eaters, but he might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like he's still balancing it out and saying he's trying to be just about it. I also thought there was something fishy going on. And I was thinking about Polyjuice still on the brain. I'm like, is it really his son? Why'd he look sickly? Was he doing magic for certain things for too long and that's what got him sick? But then it literally is Sirius says, I watched them bury him. I'm like, I mean, that's pretty final. I felt like it was JK reaching through the book and saying, no, he's really dead.
So you're telling me Barty Crouch is just taking Polyjuice Potion because he's really his son, but he just keeps taking it as Barty Crouch. So he's been taking this for years and years and years and years.
I don't know. It could be anything, you know? But no, I think I'm reading it as the straight read, but I just thought it was cool the way we got to know more about Crouch and the fairness of Sirius. Even though he's so bitter towards Crouch, he still doesn't want to hold his son responsible for anything, anger towards his father or even his associated people that are Death Eaters. All that I felt like was very fair.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a tough one because he really saw him bury his son outside.
Yeah.
And his son was just maybe caught in the wrong place at the wrong time because he was terrified and scared, but I don't know.
It also could have been, though, like, if your dad's gone, he seemed to be very career driven, right? So you're not going to be around often for your son. And then to get attention, you would do the opposite of what your dad would want you to do. So if he's sending all these dark wizards and Death Eaters to Azkaban, what if I just dabbled in it to get my dad's attention?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, honestly, that's a great point.
And then he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, thinking, okay, I'm going to get my dad's attention. Maybe he'll, like, focus on me. Why are you doing this? Da, da, da. But instead he gets thrown into Azkaban, and his dad doesn't even seem to care or know why. Or
because you do see a lot of ambition-hungry people, their kids end up falling by the wayside because their parents don't give them any time of day, and sometimes the kids do whatever it takes to get just an ounce of attention from their parents. It's truly sad, but it's kind of like the reality of things. So
they usually act up, And what better way to do than that? But that's sad.
It's even sad about the mother.
Yeah, that was
that
also
part breaks
crazy.
my heart. Oh,
and
man.
she just seeing, I guess, I mean, it's horrible because her son is in jail, Azkaban, and then the husband, you're like watching him like you're not even going to do anything. You're just going to let him die in there. You're not going to give him a cake. Like, then then you're pissed. He dies. And then you're like, well, I don't want to live with you anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even want to be. Was that their only son? Was that their only kid?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like it. Man, it's like these are definitely just hard-hitting chapters. And in some cases, Sirius might be wrong about some of this stuff. Even he himself says it. I don't really know some of this. This is the extent of his own knowledge. He could just be, like making wrong assumptions about things. But it seems like at least a slightly reliable narrative for a lot of this kind of stuff. He at least saw some stuff with his own two eyes. Unless he has a magical eye.
Which is awesome.
And then we kind of learned here that Snape was accused of being a Death Eater. Rosier and Wilkes, they were both killed by Aurors the year before Voldemort's death. The Lestranges, they're a married couple. They're in Azkaban. Avery, from what we've heard, he wormed his way out of trouble by saying he had been acting under the Imperius curse. He's still at large. But as far as I know, Snape was never even accused. Oh, he was never even accused of being a Death Eater. Not that means much. Plenty of them were caught, and Snape's certainly clever and cunning enough to keep himself out of trouble. So maybe him and Karkaroff were never truly Death Eaters to begin with. So maybe the thing on their forearm isn't really associated with the Dark Mark, possibly. Or maybe it could be, and Snape really was accused of being a Death Eater. I feel like it has to be one or the other, right? Because they're both pointing to something on their forearm. Yeah. And they have to be in the same camp with that. Maybe they're deserters of Voldemort and they got this sign because of that. Like Danny was saying, maybe they're supporters of Voldemort and the tattoo's ink is growing stronger because of it. I think both theories are really interesting. I think they're great theories. You guys are coming up with some zinger theories tonight.
Oh yeah.
But do you guys have anything else in these chapters, or in this chapter specifically? It's interesting. We got a lot of information here, but it's not like we have a ton of questions about it too.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't have answers, so we don't even know how to answer these questions. Mm-hmm. So like we can't even talk about some of this kind of stuff because the questions are just like there's thousands of questions rolling in your head. You don't even know which one to pick.
And I feel like just some of this is just questioning the narrative we've thought before, or just saying, well, maybe let's not fully believe that. Like the line about the Bertha I knew wasn't forgetful at all. Yeah. So then, like, again, right. Well, especially if we're thinking Voldemort took her memory, now we're like, great, he's got like tons of memory. She's not forgetful, whatever. And it was weird that Sirius didn't know about this arm thing. So it's not a common thing, whatever it is. It's not like, oh yeah, the Ministry gave this stamp to all the Death Eaters who were released or caught or suspicious or whatever. when they talk about this thing on the arm, Sirius is like, well, I have no idea what that's about. But if Karkaroff's genuinely worried and he's going to Snape for answers, ... So yeah, all of that was just strange. And then at the end of this is where the stuff about Percy, where Hermione says Percy would never throw any of his family to a Dementor. And then Ron says, I don't know, if he thought we were standing in the way of his career, Percy's really ambitious, you know?
Yeah. What? Maybe this is one of the last questions I'll ask you because we're getting late here. But Percy, like I asked this before, but what do you really truly think of Percy? Like if you're to take a walk a mile into his shoes, Ron doesn't think very highly of him. What is Percy's motivation? He seems very career hungry. He seems very ambitious, but like, does he truly care for his family?
Yeah, I think so.
On the line he does, but
well, with what you read about Ron, I think when it comes down to it, between like life and death,
yeah,
obviously, he looked terrified.
Yeah,
that Ron was under the water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and to Harry's credit too, Harry wasn't the only one who thought this thing was going to be real.
Right. Right.
Percy's coming out white face. Fleur is petrified.
Right.
This is a psychologically abusive task.
Yes.
So true.
Like there's so many people that are terrified that these people are going to die. Like maybe that should be the first thing that they tell them. Don't worry, everyone.
They will not die.
Yeah, these champions will not, or these people, these hostages. It's just a game.
That feels like an unnecessary element.
I know.
Right.
It could have just been another egg.
Yes.
And it would have accomplished all the same things.
I know.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because Harry walks in not even knowing what the heck is happening. Like he walks in like they stole something that I love and I have to go find that. He doesn't know it's specifically them, so why does it matter? It's not like it's not like it's motivating them.
That's why I thought it was so silly.
Well,
Yeah.
but we do see Dumbledore seems very in control of his emotions. So I can respect that they want to analyze someone's discipline and are they self-controlled. Like, in order to be a good wizard, I guess you have to be cool under pressure. But it just feels like it's over the line. Well, in the end, everything we know, I guess it wasn't over the line. Well, it was to mess with all the champions like that.
Well, Flora especially.
Yeah, seriously.
Going back to Percy for a second.
Yeah.
Is he... Because I'm trying to think. He's a people pleaser, obviously, because he wants to please Crouch. But is he also concerned with status? Is he kind of like Ron in that sense?
I think
that,
so.
Like, he's not necessarily seeking approval from, say, his parents, but Crouch, who has status and all of that, that's the one he wants to please.
Oh, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not his parents' approval. It's like the general status of that, like, other people would perceive.
Yeah, like societal
Yep.
status or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing.
But I don't think he's had to make a real choice yet.
Right. That's why.
And that'll be very telling. You know,
Right.
like if he had to choose between his family and Crouch at any given moment, that would be weird. But right now, I still feel like he would choose his family or snap out of it or something. But it wouldn't be the most surprising thing if he chose wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's an interesting character. To wrap things up, this is just a random question. If you could have the books so far rewritten from one other character's perspective, who would it be? And why would it be Hermione? No, I'm just kidding. All these other people would be interesting, but we only get Harry's mind. But like being in Ron's mind, I think would be so fascinating.
That would be very
Dumbledore's would be crazy.
Yeah.
I think Dumbledore would be the best because
Yeah.
he just knows so much. We'd be
Yes.
getting a very high up view of everything. Oh, that would be so fun to read.
Hermione's would be, I just went to lunch and then I immediately went to the library and I looked up
Read
20,000
this book,
books.
read this
and-
book, read
You
this
get a
book.
lot of information.
Yeah.
Or what about the obscure like characters like Cho?
Yeah, seriously.
Like a
Really
whole new
interesting.
perspective.
Oh my
Someone
gosh.
a Hufflepuff or something would
Harry
be great.
Potter
yeah.
noticed me. I've been watching him from afar. Quidditch.
That would be so much fun to just get like an
They have-
outsider's take on things.
don't know what that just was. The Creevy brothers.
Oh,
they would be fun.
That would be adorable.
I mean, it would be centered around Harry.
It would all be.
I feel like that would be cute. Like
Every
Yeah.
chapter.
Yep.
Harry noticed me today.
Yeah.
Harry winked at me. Harry gave me sausages for breakfast.
And at the end, you find out they're brothers and not like a girl that has a crush on Harry.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, it's so great.
Or what about Rita Skeeter?
Yeah,
I feel
she
like
would be great.
she knows so much information without, like, it would be cool. Like, one side of the page would be her real truth, and the other side would
That
be
would
her
be so
fabricated
cool.
journalism.
Oh my god,
That would
That's
be
a great
really
fan
cool.
fiction idea.
that
I would read
is.
that.
I feel like that's a completely original fan fiction idea. I feel like you need to write that, Jen. That'd be so great.
I am
JK,
not a
If you're
writer.
watching with us, JK, please write it.
Oh my goodness.
That would be.
That
That's
would
like
be
honestly
fun.
the coolest rewriting version I've ever heard of. Like her truth on one side and then her like mixed
Yep.
truth on the other.
Yeah, that'd be so fun.
Fascinating. It would be well written.
True.
Yeah.
Ron's would be all over the place. Oh my gosh. Or Ron's would be a fun perspective.
Yeah, he would just be fun. Speaking of Rita, I'm pulling on Danny. I'm going back a couple chapters. Where she said to Hermione, I know things about Ludo Bagman that would make your hair curl.
Mm.
Yep,
Ooh.
Not that it needs it. I wanted to slap her at that
I
point.
know.
But I was like, ooh. I
What?
don't like
Juicy.
her, but I would want her in my corner.
Which is
Yeah,
why when
so
you asked that
true.
question, I
Yeah.
was just like, wait, I wonder what she knows. It would be really cool to find out, like,
Right.
because of that exact
Yeah.
statement she made.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
does she know? She probably is one of the most knowledgeable wizards.
Did she
on the
seduce
planet.
him?
Oh my god.
Because she's not above a love
Whoa.
potion.
Truth serum. Her
Did she go to
truth serum.
Beauxbaton? Was
These
she?
books will be X-rated.
Yes. That would be so funny. Imagine.
I didn't
I
mean
feel
it
like
for,
nothing's.
like-
I do feel like nothing's beneath her. I do feel like she would do that.
Oh yeah, she would.
Yep.
Slip a little truth serum, slip a little of something else into a little love potion into someone's drink. All right,
Yeah, that
who is your favorite character in these 4 chapters?
This is hard.
I know this is a tough one, especially with some of your theories that you threw in, Jen, because we don't know who the heck is who. Then.
Yeah. I like Dobby a lot in
Yeah, I
chapter.
was gonna say that.
This is the most that I've
Oh,
liked
yeah.
Dobby.
Yeah. Great.
He's,
one.
and that's what we were talking about one time too. Like, how does he know? How do these house elves know all their secrets? It's
Mhm.
because they're always listening.
They're
to
always
them.
there and always listening. Yeah. It's so cool.
And McGonagall was the one that said that, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you could just do this. I can't think of any of the names. Never mind. What was it called that he ate?
the
Gillyweed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like I'll say Dobby.
Yeah.
Maybe Sirius, because he's such a calming presence.
Oh,
yeah.
It felt so good that they were with him
Oh my
and just like
gosh.
having a conversation
Yeah,
without
that
pressure.
was cool too.
It just felt relaxing, even though it was like a weird cave or whatever. I was like, oh, this feels good. So that was like comforting. I feel like Sirius is comforting to me now. He feels like a safe space. So it's that was good. But Dobby definitely saved Harry's life,
Yeah.
which is great.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I'll give it to
his
Dobby.
task.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the task.
They would have sent Harry in underwater for an hour anyway. If you didn't have anything, we're putting you under
You're
the
getting
water.
under there. Swim out there and see what happens.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Dobby's great. Sirius is great in this too. Kristen, who do you think?
I'm thinking Dobby.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look through my notes, but I loved him in those moments.
Yeah, I feel
Yep.
like I gotta
Moaning
give it to
Myrtle.
the Dobster. Moaning Myrtle. Oh no.
Oh goodness.
She helped Harry a lot.
She definitely
Twice.
did.
She did.
Honestly, I get it. She helped them.
Bathroom
guys,
Creeper that she is,
And
she did
I-
help him.
underwater.
hell needs to freeze over before I give it to Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, she will not.
That
get a
prefect's
house
bathroom
cut
needs to
from
turn
me.
to straight ice before I give it to Moaning Myrtle.
You're just like
She is-
upset because that's your like safe spot is the bathroom.
Yes,
and like
and she's
Moaning
invading-
Myrtle.
She's violating.
I
it.
now have
Violating
I
your
have
safe
all
Invaded.
safe spaces. My bathrooms are now under invasion from a potential ghost.
Are you
named
constantly
Moaning
like
Myrtle.
looking
I
around?
know. Looking down in the drain, Moaning Myrtle. Getting weird
Are
views.
you
She is
weird?
such a weird character. She's so weird. Ugh. Anyway, what's your favorite moment in these chapters? That's the tougher one. But what's your
Moaning
favorite moment
Myrtle.
in this for? No.
When
No.
Harry came up with Gabrielle at that,
Really?
just that triumph moment was it for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was all the emotion of
And
the
Flora would have
victory.
kissed you all over the cheeks. And,
And that would have been great.
It.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah. So I just feel like in that moment there was a lot of emotion from every direction that I was like, oh, this is great. It was victory for Harry and everyone's safe, and it feels like the champions are kind of getting some camaraderie too. So that was great. I was feeling it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think for me, I liked the moment. I felt the dread along with Harry, like being in the library looking for this thing.
Yes.
And you're just looking every book, you're gonna get it the next one, and he falls asleep. He's dreaming about this thing, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and he has the utter despair in his heart. And then I just love the moment, Dobby. Here's the gillyweed,
Just
and
eat it.
I felt. As I was reading, this is how you know someone's such a good writer, when you literally feel the stress removed from your shoulders. You're like Harry, you're like, you have the solution, you can do this. This is great. You knew it was going to come to him, but you're like, oh my gosh, you're still so stressed out about it. And then it finally hits him, and it's just such a stress relief. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how stressed I get in some of these chapters. It's like my 10th time reading. I'm
Wait,
still so
still?
stressed. Yeah.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
so freaking good.
That's great.
What's your guys' favorite moment?
I feel like it's a Dobby moment, but I didn't write anything down.
These were like just great Dobby chapters.
I loved hearing about like Crouch's back. I love anyone's background story. So like those Crouch story of learning a little bit more about him. Even like when we find out that Crouch is in Snape's classroom or whatever, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I guess I like any of these little dropped hints of like figure out what's going on here, which is part of the story, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm still here.
Thank you. I'm so happy. That makes me thrilled.
Was it you that was talking, or was I dreaming of like where do the professors like sleep and stuff? And
Yeah,
like
we had a little discussion on that.
was that through text or was that like
I
where
mean,
was
we
it?
That was
mentioned it
actually-
like an hour and a half ago.
Jeez.
It's been a long
losing it.
recording session. I don't know how long ago
A
it
little
was.
too much mead.
Well, I think today I just mentioned, does Snape sleep in his office or right down the hall?
Yeah.
Like, why in the middle
I
of the
think
night
it,
were all
like-
these
We've talked
professors
about this a few
right
podcasts
there?
ago, though.
Oh,
But yeah, we've mentioned a few times about, like 10 episodes ago it came up, right?
Like with Trelawney. I
wait,
think
maybe
might
it was you that said something.
Hmm.
Yep, it was you.
What made you think of it, though?
Because I was wondering, because we were stuck on this Mad-Eye Moody and Crouch changing personalities, whatever, people. And then we were like, where did they come from? Is he coming from up the stairs or down the stairs? And where are the professors sleeping?
Yeah.
And are they
They're
all
all
down
rooming
there? Are
together.
they all coming up?
They
What?
got bunk
They're all
beds.
roommates together.
Yeah.
Well, I also didn't understand the tapestry. That threw me off a little bit. And now, from what I understand, the tapestry is at the bottom of the stairs, like acting like curtains you separate or go past. Because then at first I'm just picturing a tapestry is on the wall. So then to have this like tapestry there that you have to now go through, that kind of threw me off. It would make sense, I guess, to reduce a draft. But like, yeah, I just couldn't quite picture it. But now I think I've got an image in my head about it. You find your favorite moment, Kristen?
I'm trying real hard. I mean, I don't want to steal yours, John, but I might.
You can. It's a good moment.
That whole dread, I actually made a comment in the beginning when it was Christmas time, and it was like, oh, everybody was, happy, and except Harry, because he felt that dread, that like
Yeah.
nervous
Oh.
feeling creep back in, and I was like, oh, I experienced that so much because I was a procrastinator when I was younger, and I was like, I felt that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
And you feel just with Harry, you're like mad at him for waiting this long. You're like, Harry, you're an idiot. We were all
Yes.
saying that before, but you're like, you feel it with Harry a bit more now.
Yeah. So.
Why didn't he just do this earlier?
I know.
Yeah. So that moment
Goodness.
of relief when Dobby saves the day I'll go with that too.
So good.
Stealing yours.
Anyway, thank you for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
We did it. That was a long one.
Woo! That was a long one, but you guys crushed
you
it.
took it over.
We did so good. Would you guys rather face a dragon or go in icy water?
Dragon.
Icy water. If I had more time to prepare. He had a clue. A clue was great.
Yeah, I know. He had a clue. That's true.
I mean, not that I would really pick a dragon, but I'm always freezing. So
Yeah.
who wants to be in
I would
cold
go in the
water?
icy water.
Charms.
Oof. Yeah, I would need a lot of warming charms.
Oh yeah, you're like me. It's like you
Yeah.
don't like going in the water, right?
Yep.
I hate going in the
Always cold.
Wes
not because of
loves
that.
going in
Oh.
cold water. He went in cold water the other day. Look at him right now. He went in cold water the other day, and he had icicles. The first time he had icicles on his legs, and he was so confused. He was walking. And he was walking like
Oh,
because
because
he
it's like you
didn't
can
like
feel
didn't
it.
know what was
That's
going on. It
hilarious.
was so cute.
Oh.
I also think Hermione would be a little silly if she went to Bulgaria with Crumb.
Why?
Well, he invited her for the summer. That's creepy. It's a little too soon if you ask me.
Ah.
And also fishy, too.
Didn't. Because they're
But
great.
what if he only needs 5 minutes to figure out?
Oh, then great. But her dentist parents are never going to be down. Never going to be down with this.
I always feel so bad for Hermione's parents.
They're so out of the loop,
I
and
know.
she's just running around. Well, we don't know if we can trust Crumb yet. That's
Yeah.
I'm like
That's a very
he
valid
might
point.
be evil. You don't go to Bulgaria with an evil like dark wizard. What are you doing?
Well, also, why would she want to go there? Maybe she's just so curious and she's like into her like detective mode. I just want to know where it is.
Mm.
You know,
Oh,
like
to Durmstrang.
Durmstrang, you don't know.
True.
She's gonna woo the truth.
Wait, I
out of him.
forget,
We'll
was she
sneak a little
considering
Veritaserum with her.
I don't know, but the fact that she was upset that Rita Skeeter outed her about it makes me think she was kind of considering it. And then Rita blew up her spot, says it to the whole world, and that might throw that off. Although, maybe that's better for her safety if everybody knows she went to Bulgaria.
Do you think that she actually loves Crumb?
I don't think
really
she
fast. You're talking about like
loves
loving
him.
and marrying. These are kids, and they've just met.
But they're wizards.
Crumb,
You like to speed up the process here, bro.
died.
Crumb
Oh,
said
man.
that he loves her.
He said
No,
that.
he didn't.
Where?
Oh crap! He said I've never felt this way about someone before. But
yes.
for all other intents and purposes,
Yes.
that's essentially saying I
That
love
means
you.
I love you. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never felt this way before.
Isn't that a song?
Get off
There's
my
something
back,
there that
Kristen.
wasn't there before.
Disney came back.
Wait, we missed
Every
it.
podcast we're gonna sneak
Oh
it
my
in.
goodness.
You don't think?
Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So I definitely
Nice.
don't think. I think she actually loves Ron a bit more than. Again, it's not love. It's like infatuation.
Well, that
and
would-
all
Yeah.
stuff.
Her
Yeah,
and
but
Ron
Ron's
would make more
could
sense
be
because they
love.
actually know each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. It's not infatuation.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right?
But
They've spent time.
yeah,
They're still children.
But maybe
But
they
Crumb's
live.
less of a child. He's a little older.
Wait, what?
Oh,
I was
Crumb's
laughing
less
at
of a
Jen.
child.
Oh, wait,
17
Jen, what
years
did you
old.
say?
Oh,
I
oh,
said
true, true, true. I keep
he
forgetting
lives
he's
in the
17.
Where they get
My-
married very young.
Oh, nice.
I didn't say it this time.
I need to go re-listen to the podcast to figure out what you said about athletes or something like that.
I just call them dumb.
Oh, thanks.
That's why I said
That's true. No, I agree with you. I fully agree with you on that point. Although we are in the middle of the World Cup and it is the greatest sporting event in the world. I love it so much. Go USA. We play on Friday. Which this podcast probably won't get
Oh.
released before Friday, so I might have to just cut all this out of the podcast. But you on the live stream are hearing this. So anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. We are going to wrap it up,
guys.
call it a
Night.
night. It was fun. We had a lot of people join tonight.
Really?
Yeah. We had 9 at
Whoa.
one point, mainly
Ooh.
like 5 to 6 to 7. It was pretty good. Which
Thanks
is
for
better than
coming,
before.
guys.
So thanks for joining us, guys. You on the live stream or hearing this? Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys.
Oh,
we are going to
God.
wrap it up, call it a night. It was fun. We had a lot of people join tonight. Really? Yeah. We had 9 at one point.